Chapter 1558. Crushing Mo Wutan. I was accepted as a disciple by the Jihong Celestial Sovereign and became the young sovereign of the Jihong Training Ground. I activated the Destiny Seed in the elimination round and broke the record of the Destiny platform. I also took first place in the second round, but I was still treated like an ant by Mo Wutian and Dao Xintian. They mocked and humiliated me. The reason is that I came from a desolate celestial region. My background is not as noble as theirs. My previous performance was too dazzling and made them jealous. Respect is earned through one's own efforts, not through the charity of others. Since that's the case, I will use my strength to shut up all those who mocked and humiliated me. Su Fong sat cross-legged in the corner. After thinking for a while, he no longer paid attention to the competition and closed his eyes to cultivate. The fifth round ended quickly. Among the top 10, Su Fong, Ming Yin, Dao Hung Tian, the young master of the Azure Cloud Celestial Sect, and Mo Wutian, who were in the top 5 of the Destiny platform, had all won. In the sixth round, the top 5 had no choice but to choose their opponents. The real battle had begun. Whoosh, Su Fong suddenly opened his eyes and leaped into the air to enter the battle platform. Mo Wutian, get up here. Su Fong uttered a cold roar, as a peerless, imperious aura swept out together with his voice. An ant from a desolate celestial region dares to shout in front of me? You're courting death. Mo Wutian's deep eyes were filled with killing intent. He passed through the array and stood opposite Su Fong with his hands behind his back. At this time, a nascent soul voice sounded. Mo Wutian, Su Fong has the Xiaming lightning seal and can counter Ming Yin. Even if he can't defeat Ming Yin, he can exhaust a part of his strength and create a chance for Dao Hongtian to win. This concerns the reputation of the Heaven's Destiny, Hao Tsang sect. When you fight with him, just defeat him. Don't hurt him or kill him. It turned out that Divine Cauldron Holy Man was worried that the unruly Mo Wutian would kill Su Fong. Of course, the real reason was not as dignified as he said, but for the purple cloud's Dharma spirit. Then, the Jihong Immortal Sovereign's majestic voice sounded in Mo Wutian's mind. If you dare to harm my disciple, I will make you regret it for the rest of your life. Mo Wutian snorted. He could completely ignore the Jihong Immortal Venerate, but he could not disobey the words of the Divine Cauldron Holy Venerate. Su Fong, consider yourself lucky. You have a powerful figure from your sect backing you up and protecting your life. That's why I won't kill you. However, if you lose to me, you must break off your relationship with Fairy Xuanxin and get out of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Who do you think you are? What makes you qualified to be Xuanxin's Dao companion? Mo Wutian said domineeringly, his arrogance soaring to the sky. Without waiting for Su Fong to speak, Mo Wutian shouted coldly, I cultivate the great Dao of darkness. My power can swallow the heavens. Even if you're talented and have supernatural powers, you can't escape the fate of being suppressed by me. Why don't you kneel down and admit defeat? Mo Wutian separated his palms and formed a seal. It was as if night had fallen, and the space of the battle arena was instantly pitch black. This darkness not only covered the light of the divine sun, but also the divine power of nature and the laws of nature. There was also a divine power of darkness that caused Su Fong to lose his vision and senses. At the same time, he also lost the ability to sense and communicate with nature. It was difficult for him to use the essence of heaven and earth and borrow powers from the stars to absorb and control the spiritual energy in nature and use supernatural powers. There was also a cold aura that enveloped the world. Su Fong could not help but feel cold and fearful from the bottom of his heart. His physical body and primordial spirit became very fragile at this moment. This was the horror of the Tao realm. With one's own Tao, one could create one's own space and isolate heaven and earth from the stars. Furthermore, Mo Wutian's great Tao of darkness was unique and domineering. Within the area covered by his divine power of darkness, all divine power and laws turned into nothingness, leaving only dead silence. At the same time, It evoked the instinctive fear of cultivators. Their Tao heart and willpower were suppressed. Su Fong, I know that you possess many extraordinary divine abilities and even a peerless Tao artifact. You will definitely not be willing to admit defeat. Unleash all of them. I really want to see the look of you struggling in pain under my divine might. Huh? Mo Wutian laughed sinisterly. He was very arrogant and proud, like a god who ruled over this boundless and terrifying darkness. I can ignore your arrogance and conceit. You can look down on me and laugh at me. I can also ignore it. But you use Xuanxin to humiliate me. I, Su Fong, can't take it anymore. Only by killing you can I eliminate the hatred in my heart. Since I'm going to kill you, I'll kill you in one strike. I won't give you a chance to admit defeat. Su Fong's eyes flashed with a sharp light. The next moment, a high-pitched cry that sounded like a dragon and a phoenix came from Su Fong's body. It was like the cry of a rooster that summoned the divine sun. In an instant, a dazzling golden light exploded from his body, making him like a divine sun that bloomed with boundless light, dispersing the dark and cold night. It turned out that in order to kill Mo Wutian by surprise, Su Fong directly let the dragon bird in his body release the shocking divine power of the sun. It was the fatal nemesis of the great Tao of darkness. In the dragon's saliva pond, the dragon bird absorbed the divine dragon's aura and transformed again. In the Jihong dojo, the dragon bird swallowed a large amount of vast yang pills, and its strength skyrocketed again. In addition, the dragon bird's divine power of the sun had a natural restraining effect on Mo Wutian's divine power of darkness. It was like the sun dispersing the night, causing Mo Wutian's divine power of darkness to dissipate layer by layer. What kind of divine power is this? Mo Wutian seemed to be hiding in the darkness and was suddenly exposed to the light of day. He was shocked and surprised. At this moment, two rays of golden light suddenly burst out from Su Fong's eyes, turning into a dazzling sun god's arrow. It exploded with a shocking aura that could melt all the cold and evil energy. In a flash, it pierced through space and shot into Mo Wutian's chest, breaking through his defense and shooting into his body. Boom! Mo Wutian's body burned with a dazzling light, as if he was ignited by the divine sun. At the same time, Su Fong activated the sword pill and arrived in front of Mo Wutian. The sword pill shot out streaks of silver sword chi. Chi. Mo Wutian, who was seriously injured by the sun god's arrow, was caught off guard by Su Fong's swift and violent attack. He was powerless to activate his defense. Stop! I admit defeat. Mo Wutian, who was overflowing with arrogance, was now terrified and fearful. He admitted defeat without thinking. But it was too late. Streaks of silver sword chi pierced through his head and body, and he died immediately. His corpse was sent to the destiny stage by the array. Mo Wutian, who was ranked second among the top 10 disciples of the Destiny Hao Tsang sect, was easily killed by Su Fong. The Heavensal platform, the viewing space, and Hao Tsang Sky City were all dead silent. Su Fong, how dare you violate the rules of the competition and kill Mo Wutian? You're simply lawless. Holy Man Han Su roared angrily, breaking the surrounding silence. Su Fong, who flew out of the battle arena, revealed a look of fear and guilt. He clasped his fists and said, Mo Wutian was ranked second among the top 10 disciples of the Destiny Hao Tsang sect. He had supreme, divine powers. I thought he could easily resolve my attack. Who knew? He could not even withstand a single blow. I was too heavy-handed. Please punish me. Mo Wutian could not withstand a single blow? Holy Man Han Su was so angry that his eyebrows and beard trembled. However, he could not blame Su Fong. He could only stare at Su Fong fiercely. A surge of divine power suddenly descended, causing Su Fong to stagger. Mo Wutian's death could only be left unsettled. Holy Man shouldn't have looked at Su Fong, and his heart was in turmoil. Mo Wutian's strength is so strong that even a mid-level immortal venerable could not suppress him. Su Fong could not fight back in front of him. That was why he warned Mo Wu Tian. Who knew? I thought it would be easy to get the purple Chi Dharma spirit from Su Fong. Now, it seems like it will take a lot of effort. Jihong, Immortal Venerable, was also shocked. He sighed in his heart. I never dared to underestimate this kid. I never thought that I would underestimate him again and again. How many divine powers does this kid have hidden? Su Fong's ruthlessness, decisiveness, and the powerful divine powers that he used to kill Mo Wu Tian made the other top 10, especially the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect and Ming Yin, fearful and shocked. They even felt a strong sense of threat. Su Fong won all 6 battles. Mo Wu Tian, who was ranked second among the top 10 disciples of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, was crushed. Not crushed, but killed in a second. Su Fong is fully capable of challenging for the position of Taoist equals N_1. After a short moment of silence, the Hao Tsang Sky City was filled with exclamations. Su Fong's ranking had risen to the 3rd place, and the number of cultivators who bet on him in the gambling house had also skyrocketed. The 6th round of the Taoist competition was destined to be a tumultuous one. First, Ming Yin challenged Tuoyu. This time, Tuoyu did not choose to admit defeat, but fought with all his might. There was naturally no suspense in the outcome of the battle on the battle platform. Even if Tuoyu used all his strength, he could not compete with Ming Yin. In the end, Ming Yin used his powerful physical strength to punch Tuoyu until he spat out blood. Tuoyu had no choice but to admit defeat. However, Tuoyu's ferocious character and extraordinary strength made the crowd gasp in admiration. Next was Dao Hung Tian, who chose the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. This battle lasted for 3 days, and in the end, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect had to admit defeat. Facing a strong opponent like the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect, Dao Hung Tian still closed his eyes. It was obvious that he was still holding back. Lui Wetian and Bei Lingtian's opponents were Feng Ling and Dao Xian Tian respectively. The results were not out of everyone's expectations. Dao Xian Tian lost to Bei Lingtian. Feng Ling, on the other hand, once again showed everyone his peerless talent. He used the earth element to fight against Lu Yuetian's water element and caused great trouble for Lu Yuetian. If not for the fact that Lu Yuetian's cultivation level was suppressed, he would not have won this battle. After 10 days of rest, Su Fong pointed at the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. You come out. Swoosh. Swoosh. Everyone's eyes fell on the Destiny platform. The real battle had finally begun. All eyes were on it. Finally, you're here. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect revealed a stiff and evil smile. He laughed strangely and entered the battle platform. Previously, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was not injured in the battle with Dao Hung Tian. However, he had used up most of his death energy. In just 10 days, he had recovered to his peak state. The resurrected experts could use the power of Xie Yang to recover. Moreover, the speed of recovery was so fast that it shocked the immortal Dao experts. Then, the immortal Dao experts' hearts sank. The world had changed, and countless experts had been resurrected. If the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was so powerful, how powerful would the resurrected experts be? Boom, boom, boom. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect used the death energy to form 3 avatars. They created an extremely dense death energy wave and charged at Su Fong. =R download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1559. Each of the Death Chi clones had the strength of a beginner, Immortal Venerable. There were 3 of them in total. Even a peak beginner, Dao Realm Immortal Venerable, would have to avoid them. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was this powerful. Xianming Lightning Archive. Su Fong took out the Xianming Lightning Archive without hesitation and activated it with a Thunder of Destiny, unleashing 60% of its power. With Su Fong's current cultivation base and the purple Chi Dharma spirit's ability to control the magic treasure, If he did not consider the consequences, he could almost fully activate the power of the Xianming Thunder Scroll. It would not be difficult to kill the young master of the Green Cloud Celestial Sect. However, the price he would have to pay would be heavy. Even the Emperor of Netherworld could only activate the Xianming Lightning Archive once, let alone Su Fong. Su Fong was about to face powerful opponents like Dao Hongtian and Ming Yan, especially Ming Yan, the saint of the devil race. The Xianming Lightning Archive was the most important means to counter Ming Yan. How could Su Fong not consider the consequences? However, the Xianming Lightning Archive was a Thunder Dao artifact. It could counter the Death Qi and other evil forces. Although Su Fong had only activated 60% of its power, it was still very powerful. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 Death Qi clones were engulfed by the lightning and turned into nothingness. Xianming Lightning Archive. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect let out an inhuman roar. The Xianming Lightning Archive was the treasure of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect had been resurrected by the Heaven and Earth anomaly. Although he had lost his memories, he still had some memories of the Xianming Lightning Archive in his remaining consciousness. Now that Su Fong had used the treasure of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect against him, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect, his evil and violent nature had been completely awakened. Kill. In a flash, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect formed 3 more Death Qi clones. Boom 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 equals N_R. The lightning swept across the 3 Death Qi clones and turned them into ashes. Damn it! The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect roared furiously. Before the lightning could engulf him, 3 more Death Qi clones stood in front of him. After the explosion that shook the sky, the power of the Xianming Lightning Archive was finally depleted. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect's 3 Death Qi clones was only left. His Qi had been weakened, and it was retracted back into his body. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect could form 9 Death Qi clones, and each of them had the strength of a beginner Dao Realm cultivator. Even Dao Hongtian had to be careful when fighting against him. But now, almost all of them were killed by a single strike from the Xianming Lightning Scroll, and the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect suffered a huge loss in strength. The power of the Xianming Lightning Archive was actually this terrifying. Form, Strength Palm. At this point, Su Fong no longer concealed his strength. Moreover, he was facing a strong opponent like the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. If he didn't use his true sacred art, it would be hard for him to suppress him. Su Fong used the Herculean Divine Palm, and with the divine power of his perfected physical body, 2 huge golden palm prints that were close to 300 feet in size, carrying a golden aura, smashed towards the young master of the Azure Cloud Immortal Sect. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was first pushed back by the terrifying divine power. Then, he was sent flying 1,000 feet away. The supreme divine power contained in the Strength Palm caused great damage to the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. His physical body fell off layer by layer. Some parts of his body even revealed his white bones. After unleashing this incomparably powerful attack, Su Fong returned to his normal state. To fight with a resurrected expert like the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect, he had to maintain his vigorous yang energy. The giant form of the diamond consumed a lot of yang energy. Su Fong did not dare to overuse his yang energy. He maintained his giant form of the diamond form to fight. What kind of evil skill is this? It can cause such damage to me. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was in disbelief. Ming Yan's voice came from the Heaven's Fate stage. This is not an evil skill. It is a god-level skill that is activated by the physical body. It is extremely powerful, but it cannot be maintained for long. God-level skill? It seems that I have underestimated you. I originally wanted to preserve my strength for the final battle with Ming Yan. But now, I have no choice but to use all my strength. Evil God Force, Death Heaven and Earth. Poof, poof, poof. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect's physical body suddenly shattered. Death Chi rolled out in all directions. Supreme, evil god force. The young master of the green cloud immortal sect's voice came from all directions. At the same time, the death chi and evil chi in the heaven and earth gathered in the battle arena. The young master of the green cloud immortal sect used his own body to activate the power of Xieyang to create his own space. The natural spiritual energy in this space was replaced by the thick death chi. The natural laws of the heaven and earth were also covered by the evil law of death. It was different from the Death King's Tao of Death. After all, the Tao of Death was also a type of great Tao. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect had borrowed the power of Xieyang to override the heaven's Tao. From the surrounding Death Chi, a figure of the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect was formed. His eerie voice sounded, "In my death, heaven and earth, the will of the heavens and the laws are dead. My will is the heavens. My thoughts are the laws. Also, I am immortal here. Su Fong, offer your life force to this young master, and this young master will grant you immortality." The voice swept out with an evil divine aura. It was a huge impact on Su Fong's will. It made him want to release his chi, true chi, and blood chi involuntarily. He wanted to become a part of the death heaven and earth and be controlled by the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. Roar! Trapped in the death heaven and earth, Su Fong couldn't communicate with the heavens and earth except for his perfect physical body. He didn't hesitate to use his dragon, subduing true body. A sacred dragon, Roar, suddenly came from the battle platform. The supreme divine dragon's aura burst out and broke through the array shackles. It swept towards the heaven's fate stage and the surroundings. The peerless geniuses on the heaven's fate stage and the immortal Tao experts in the viewing space all trembled as they were hit by the divine aura. The sword chi in the chi sword immortal venerable's body contained dragon chi. Under Su Fong's divine dragon's aura, there was another change. He finally understood that the scene in the dragon saliva pool in the World Palace that day wasn't the resurrection of a divine dragon, but Su Fong. The Chi Sword Immortal Venerable was shocked. He couldn't help but fear Su Fong. Su Fong turned into a 10-foot divine dragon, a supreme aura that looked down on the heavens and earth, as well as a majestic and inviolable divine aura, arose spontaneously. After circling, the divine dragon rushed towards the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect with a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. Chi! The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect and Su Fong clashed. In less than 3 breaths, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect and the surrounding void were torn into pieces by the sharp claws of the dragon. To be able to use such a shocking dragon race cultivation technique and turn into a divine dragon. Su Fong, you're really extraordinary. However, my divine dragon's divine dragon is endless. Even if you turn into a divine dragon, you won't be able to break my divine dragon's divine dragon. Another young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect condensed not far away. He looked unharmed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The divine dragon flew across the sky and unleashed a supreme divine aura, killing the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect 3 times. However, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect seemed to be unkillable and quickly condensed again. On the other hand, Su Fong in the divine dragon state had his dragon chi and vitality devoured by the surrounding deathly aura and had to return to his normal state. Even the divine dragon state can't do anything to the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. Is he really unkillable? Su Fong was shocked. Unkillable. Luo sneered in disdain from the blood jade in his body. In the great world, there's no such thing as truly unkillable. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect is just borrowing the power released by the 4 evil sons to merge himself into the world. The body condensed is formed by the deathly aura, so naturally he can't be killed. As long as we can find its source, we can kill it equals in _1. I understand. Su Fong's eyes shone with a hale and hearty luster. The life-shrinking technique could sense any aura of fate. No matter how well the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect hid, He couldn't escape the detection of the life shrinking technique. Su Fong, even if you admit defeat, I can still suppress you before the battle platform sends you out. Submit to me, and I'll grant you immortality. The young master of the green cloud, immortal sex, gloomy voice sounded again, like the voice of the Grim Reaper. He was right. The moment Su Fong was sent out by the divine power of the battle platform, he had to give up all his power and let the formation send him out. At this moment, the young master of the green cloud immortal sect had the chance to kill him. You're just a corpse. How dare you dream of becoming Su Fong's god? What a joke. Sky-shrouding nether coffin. Su Fong struck out a Xian Guang from his palm. A dark coffin slid out and exploded with a gust of deathly aura. After circling in the air, the lid of the coffin slid open. Billowing deathly aura surged out, and an astonishing divine power of a Tao artifact shrouded the entire area. Then, the sky-shrouding nether coffin suddenly released a suction force. The domain covered by the divine power, all the deathly aura and evil aura were sucked into the sky-shrouding nether coffin. Su Fong did not cultivate the Tao of Death. It was difficult for him to activate the sky-shrouding nether coffin. At this moment, the sky-shrouding nether coffin was able to release such power because of the undead king. He was in Su Fong's body and borrowed the divine power of the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda to merge the deathly aura with Su Fong's body. This allowed Su Fong to have the ability to activate the sky-shrouding nether coffin. The sky-shrouding nether coffin was not restricted in the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect. Instead, its power was stronger than when it was in the outside world. That's the sky-shrouding nether coffin. Su Fong, not only do you have the Xinming Thunder Archive, you even have the sky-shrouding nether coffin. Such a peerless Tao artifact is suitable for resurrecting experts. I'll kill you, and the sky-shrouding nether coffin will belong to me. Another gust of deathly aura gathered from all directions. The young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect condensed a new body. His voice was weak but full of greed. Su Fong, I'm your god here. I'll grant you immortality. With an evil roar, the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect condensed one after another. They swarmed towards Su Fong from all directions. Su Fong activated the life shrinking technique, and at the same time, he pushed the sensing ability of his perfect physical body to the extreme. The evil supernatural power that the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect used had merged with the surrounding deathly aura. It was hard to capture and even harder to kill him. Su Fong activated the sky-shrouding nether coffin not to suppress the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect, but to force him to reveal his origin aura. At this moment, Su Fong used the life-shrinking technique to sense the origin aura of the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect clearly. If the heavens suppress me, I'll defy the heavens. Thunder of Destiny. Su Fong used the life-shrinking technique to capture the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal Sect's Destiny aura, and then activated the Thunder of Destiny. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1560. How is this possible? To be able to capture my origin chi and use such a terrifying divine power. I admit defeat. The young master of the Azure Cloud sect first felt that he was locked on by an ethereal force, and then had a strong premonition that he was going to be wiped out from the world. In shock, he chose to admit defeat without hesitation. Xiao, a divine power, shrouded the young master of the Azure Cloud sect in the battle platform and was about to teleport him out. However, once the life-shrinking technique locked onto his origin chi, even the divine power of the Destiny stage couldn't stop it. What awaited the young master of the Azure Cloud sect was only to be killed by the Thunder of Destiny. A thunderclap that could destroy Fate rumbled. Suddenly, you can't kill the young master of the Azure Cloud sect. A voice filled with the majesty of the heavenly Tao suddenly sounded, and then a huge hand appeared out of nowhere. The giant hand seemed to be formed by the will of the heavenly way. It carried a profound aura and a supreme will. It wiped out the teleportation formation that enveloped the young master of the green cloud celestial sect and the destructive power of the thunder of destiny. Then, it forcefully took the young master of the green cloud celestial sect away from the battle platform. Puff, this was the first time Su Fong had been interrupted when he used the life contraction technique. Afterwards, an ethereal divine might of fate struck him, causing his aura of life to suddenly fall into disorder. His vitality flowed in the opposite direction as well, causing him to vomit blood. Su Fong's complexion turned pale in an instant. Then, his appearance aged rapidly. His black hair turned white at a speed visible to the naked eye. In an instant, he had turned into an old man in his 60s. Peak of the Tao realm. And there's a supreme divine power of the heavenly Tao that dominates the sky. The voices also appeared before. Other than the sect leader of the heavenly fate bright firmament sect, there's no one else. To think that the heaven's secret life shrinking technique would be forcefully interrupted by someone. Such a horrifying strength had Su Fong feeling extremely shocked. Then, Su Fong felt a sense of weakness shrouding his body, and he was on the verge of death. This made Su Fong furious. The sect master of the Heavenly Mandate Heavenly Firmament sect saved the young master of the Azure Cloud sect because he was afraid that I would kill the young master of the Azure Cloud sect. He didn't care about my life at all. He's a peak Tao realm expert, the leader of the number one power of the immortal Tao. Yet, he's willing to compromise with the resurrected experts, the devil race, and the cultivators of the immortal Tao. I'm also a disciple of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect. Yet, he's so cruel and heartless. Luo spoke from the blood jade in his body. The Heavenly Mandate Hao Tasong sect master allowed Ming Yin and the young master of the Azure Sky Immortal School to participate in the Tao Disciple competition. Clearly, he was pressured by the demons and the resurrected powerhouses. Or perhaps they've reached some sort of agreement. If you were to kill the young master of the Green Cloud Immortal sect, wouldn't you be ruining his plans? In the eyes of the supreme experts of this great world, the life and death of a genius like you is nothing. Tianming Haotsong's sect. Coldness seeped out of Su Fong's eyes. The sect master of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect has reached the peak of the Tao realm. He's already a supreme existence in this great world. Apart from those old farts with 1 foot in the true God realm, no one could stand up to him. Moreover, he controls the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect. He's not someone you can fight against right now. Of course I know. I'll remember this debt to the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect. One day Su Fong, will definitely take back all of this. Su Fong's unyielding voice sounded. His hatred and murderous intent toward the sect master of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect was at its peak, but he didn't show it on his face. Because the life-shrinking art was interrupted this time, Su Fong's life force was almost at the limit of what he could bear. He barely managed to fly out of the competition platform. If Feng Ling hadn't released a protective aura in time, he would have fallen onto the Heaven's Mandate stage. The Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect. Ming Yan's lips curled into a mocking smile. Dao Hengtian looked up at the void. Although his eyes were closed, his face was filled with anger. Feng Ling and Tua, you were also infuriated, but they didn't dare say a word. On the other hand, Lu Yuetian, Dao Xintian, and Bei Lingtian's eyes were filled with joy. Su Fong, I'm no match for you. Instead, the leader of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect came to my aid. I've decided to withdraw from this competition. I'll take my leave now. We'll have another chance to fight in the future. The young master of the Azure Cloud sect glanced at Su Fong with a lifeless gaze, then left the Heaven's Mandate stage. Inside Bright Sky City, it also fell into silence. Some felt pity for Su Fong, while others felt indignant. However, no one dared to say anything in public. The Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect is truly shameless. How can a sect like this be the leader of the immortal Tao? Dai Yi said angrily in a palace in the Grand Star Hall. Grand Elder Yun was so frightened that he hurriedly set up a formation. Although the Grand Star Hall was powerful, they wouldn't offend the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect for no reason. Moreover, Dai Yi was cursing the sect leader of the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect, which made Grand Elder Yun tremble in fear. The heavenly mandate bright firmament sect deserves to die. The green feather demon emperor gritted his teeth. The demon overlord in the form of a blue-robed cultivator shook his head and sneered. The heavenly mandate bright firmament sect is beyond saving. The immortal Tao will be destroyed sooner or later. This Su Fong kid is quite interesting. Let's wait and see. In the viewing space, everyone fell into silence. No one dared to criticize the actions of the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect leader, including those from other secluded factions and secluded experts. The Jihong immortal sovereign transmitted his nascent spirit and communicated with the sect leader. His eyes burned with anger, but he eventually suppressed the anger in his heart and flew to the heavenly mandate platform. Su Fong, let's go. It's fine if we don't participate in the Tao disciple competition, the Jihong immortal sovereign said angrily. Don't participate? Su Fong smiled coldly. Not only will I continue to participate in the Tao disciple competition, but I will also win the position of Tao disciple and even become the child of destiny. Although Su Fong looked extremely weak, his voice was resolute and firm, exuding a towering, domineering aura. The Jihong immortal sovereign said worriedly. Su Fong smiled carelessly. It's fine. I have a way to replenish the life force I lost. Since you've already decided, I won't stop you. There's still 2 more battles. If you can't hold on, just admit defeat. You've already won 8 battles. Even if you give up 2 battles, you'll still be ranked 3rd. Such an achievement is enough to make me proud of you. The Jihong immortal sovereign thought of how Su Fong recovered from Tito Yu and knew that this disciple had many unfathomable abilities. Therefore, he didn't try to dissuade Su Fong anymore. Take these Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pills. It'll help you recover your life force. The Jihong immortal sovereign handed a storage ring to Su Fong and left the heavenly mandate platform. Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pills. There are actually 100 of them. Su Fong peeled off a strand of his consciousness and entered the storage ring. He couldn't help but be shocked when he saw that there were 100 Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pills inside. When he was in the lightning world of Zhutian, Su Fong once took a Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pill that hadn't been formed yet from old monster Zhutian. It helped the immortal devil monster recover by 20%. This pill was a supreme healing pill in the great world. Even a dying immortal sovereign expert could recover to his peak state in just a few hundred years after taking this pill. In terms of recovery ability, it wasn't even as good as the Divine Essence pill. Although the Divine Essence pill came from a myriad of worlds, it was, after all, the most common pill in the myriad of worlds. On the other hand, the Lightning Ginseng Blood Nascent pill was a supreme recovery pill. To immortal venerables, it was an extremely precious treasure. The Jihong immortal sovereign didn't hesitate to take out 100 pills, which touched Su Fong's heart. Su Fong immediately swallowed 10 Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pills. Then, he crushed the flesh and bones under his skin and activated the underworld blood sea to devour the pills. The 7 Bloodwater clones that he left in the True Dragon world also flew out of the True Dragon world from the dojo and merged with the Bloodwater inside his body. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At first, the Bloodwater flowed very slowly in his body. However, as the Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pill's medicinal power was quickly devoured and merged with the underworld blood sea, the flow speed gradually increased. The medicinal power turned into life energy and roared in his body, burning into the flame of life. At the same time, Su Fong also activated the dragon's subduing true body's recovery ability to quickly recover his life energy. Su Fong sealed the flame of life in his body. From the outside, no one could see any abnormalities. Even his head and appearance didn't change at all. It was just that his eyes were constantly surging with blood light, which looked very terrifying. The battle of the Tao disciple continued, and soon another round was over. This time, because the young master of the Azure Cloud Immortal sect had withdrawn, and Mo Wutian was killed by Su Fong, Ming Yin and Dao Hongtian were both left empty. The battles between the other peerless geniuses were uneventful. After resting for 10 days, Su Fong slowly stood up from the corner. He still looked like he was in his 60s, and he still looked like he had not recovered from his injuries. After devouring more than 50 Thunder Ginseng Blood Nascent pills, a large number of Yin Yang Immortal Sky pills, and other spirit items and resources, as well as the dragon subduing True Body's recovery ability, Su Fong had already recovered about 80% of his life energy. Such a recovery speed was heaven-defying. Once one's life energy was depleted, how difficult would it be to recover it? Su Fong was in such a heavily injured state and had lost more than half of his life energy. It was almost impossible for an ordinary cultivator to recover completely. Moreover, Su Fong's physical body had reached the perfected stage, and his life energy was extremely abundant. His cultivation had also reached the 8th Dao Saint Immortal Realm, so it was more difficult for him to recover compared to ordinary cultivators. If it was just physical injuries, Su Fong could instantly recover to his peak state. However, Su Fong didn't have much of a chance of winning against Dao Hongtian or Ming Yin in such a state. However, he had no choice but to fight this battle. Su Fong looked at Ming Yin. Ming Yin smiled coldly. "You want to challenge me in such a state?" Su Fong was about to challenge Ming Yin when Dao Hongtian suddenly stood up and said, "Su Fong, I'll fight you." Everyone was shocked and astonished. All right, Su Fong nodded. He would do his best in this battle. It didn't matter if he lost. It was better to lose to Dao Hongtian than to lose to Ming Yin. Su Fong was about to move to the dueling platform when Dao Hongtian suddenly said, "No need. I admit defeat." On the Destiny platform, there was an uproar in the viewing area. This was an important battle that concerned the position of Dao Disciple and the future sect master of the Heavenly Fate, Hao Tsang sect. Dao Hongtian should have won easily, but he actually admitted defeat. "Dao Master Han," Su shouted coldly. "Dao Hongtian, do you know what you're doing?" Dao Hongtian said calmly, "I hope to fight Su Fong, but not when he's heavily injured. Why don't I give up? Consider it compensation for interfering with the sect master and causing Su Fong's injuries. I can't change anything for the sect master, but I have the right to decide if I want to fight." =_ download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1561. Su Fong took a long look at Dao Hongtian, then returned to his corner. Law's voice rang out from the blood-red prison. "This Dao Hongtian is an extraordinary person. If he grows up, he will be even more powerful than the current sect leader of the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect. There are very few peerless geniuses in the great world that I am interested in. Even I have to respect this Dao Hongtian a little." Suddenly, Dao Hongtian looked at Ming Yin, battle intent radiating from him. Then he said, "You still have 3 battles left, Su Fong, me, and the young master of the Azure Cloud sect. The young master of the Azure Cloud sect has left, and Su Fong has just finished his battle. I am your only opponent now. Do you dare to fight me?" What an arrogant Dao Hongtian. Dao Master Han Su and the higher-ups of the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect were shocked and angry, but they could do nothing to Dao Hongtian. Ming Yin paused, then laughed. "Not bad. I have finally met an opponent worthy of my respect on this trip to the Heavenly Fate Hao Tsang sect. If not for the fact that you are an immortal Dao cultivator and I am a demon, I would definitely be friends with you. Let's begin =N_R. Dao Hongtian nodded, then flew into the battle arena. Ming Yin flew out, laughing, and faced Dao Hongtian. Dao Hongtian, Ming Yin, they were the 2 most popular contenders for the title of Chosen of the Dao. There were still 2 rounds left before the final battle for the position of Chosen of the Dao. Who would have thought that these 2 peerless geniuses would clash now? This meant that the final battle was about to begin. These 2 peerless geniuses, one representing the immortal Dao, the other representing the demon race. What kind of peerless brilliance would be unleashed when they clashed? This confrontation was not only related to who would become the Taoist, but also related to the honor of both the immortal and devil sides. If Dao Hongtian won, it would greatly boost the morale of the immortal Dao and suppress the demon race's arrogance. If he lost, no one would be able to compete with the demon Holy Sun. Although the heavenly fate Haotsong sect would never let Ming Yin become their chosen of the Dao, the sect's reputation would be tarnished, and the morale of the immortal Dao would take an unimaginable hit. Therefore, this battle was the focus of everyone's attention. Dao Hongtian, to show my respect to you, I will use my full strength. You don't have to hide anything anymore. Ming Yan's body also underwent a drastic change. His demonic face twisted and his muscles wriggled, turning into a young but extremely hideous face. His eyes were burning with blood-red flames. Two bloody horns appeared on the top of his head, and his ears perked up. His muscles swelled, and a demonic aura shot out from Death Flame's body. It carried an aura that did not belong to the great world, as if a demon god had descended. The devilish aura tumbled and transformed into more than 100,000 ferocious devilish faces. They roared and howled. In an instant, the entire battle platform was filled with devilish sounds and devilish chi. It was as if they had entered the devilish world. This isn't your true strength, Dao Hongtian said softly as he released a holy aura. The eternal power formed a domain around him. The howling devilish sounds crashed into Dao Hongtian's eternal domain and disappeared silently into nothingness. The devilish faces formed by the devilish aura charged over. Once they entered the domain, they immediately collapsed and turned into ordinary devilish chi. In the end, they turned into energy and merged with nature. Dao Hongtian communicated with nature and created his own domain. It was like an eternal and unchanging world. Time and laws existed forever. No power or laws could change it. This was the mysterious and powerful Eternal Tao. The Eternal Tao is indeed one of the supreme heavenly Taos. However, the heavenly Taos have been blinded by the evil god. The heavens are about to die. Even the heavenly Taos cannot be eternal. How can your divine powers remain eternal? Ming Yin sneered and strode toward Dao Hongtian. There was no fluctuation of devilish chi on his body. However, with every step he took, his aura was brewing. In the end, it exploded with a violent and evil aura that could conquer heaven and earth. He charged into Dao Hongtian's space domain. No one could imagine that the body of the Devil Clan actually contained such a terrifying power and such an astonishing momentum. Even Su Fong, who had a perfect body, felt ashamed of his inferiority. Boom, boom, boom. Dao Hongtian's eternal divine power clashed with Ming Yan's aura, causing an earth-shattering explosion. The eternal divine power that covered the space shattered layer by layer. Ming Yan's terrifying aura was also quickly worn down. Once again, Ming Yan released a terrifying devilish aura. With a boiling and burning aura, he continued to attack Dao Hongtian's eternal divine power. As a result, Ming Yan advanced even faster. Soon, he was only a few hundred feet away from Dao Hongtian. Dao Hongtian, if you don't use your full strength now, you won't have a chance to attack. Demonic God, overturning the sky seal. Ming Yan roared and shot out a ray of black devilish light. It turned into a terrifying devilish hand that covered an area of 1,000 feet. It felt as if the sky would be overturned if the hand fell. Dao Hongtian's eternal divine power collapsed and shattered. A terrifying shackle shrouded him. The immortal Dao cultivators in the viewing space were stunned by Ming Yan's display of such a terrifying combat art. Inside Su Fong's blood jade, Law saw this scene with the help of Su Fong's eternal divine power. He also exclaimed, "Demonic God overturning the sky seal." This is a top cultivation technique that only the devils in the immortal world can use. Although there are devils in the immortal world and the macro world who have mastered it, they can't use the demonic god overturning the sky seal to such an extent. Ming Yan is indeed from the immortal world. Although he hasn't reached the level of the demonic god, he is still a powerful devil. Why would a devil from the immortal world come to the macro world? Maybe he came to the lower worlds to train. Maybe he has a mission. No one can say for sure. Isn't Dao Hongtian in danger? Not necessarily. Dao Hongtian hasn't used his full strength yet. But Ming Yin, the holy son of the devil race, gives me an unfathomable feeling. He's not as simple as he seems. On the dueling platform, facing Ming Yan's eternal divine power, Dao Hongtian suddenly smiled. The heavenly Dao and the universe are eternal. It's just that cultivators can't comprehend their mysteries. You may be the holy son of the devil race and come from the immortal world, but you're still an evil and cruel devil. How could you possibly understand this? I can't comprehend the true meaning of the eternal great Dao right now. I've only scratched the surface, but I can barely suppress you, the holy son of the devil race. A glimpse of eternity. All things return to the void. Suddenly, Dao Hongtian opened his eyes. His eyes were incomparably deep, like the boundless void. Nothing seemed to exist in them, but they contained everything in the universe. It was like the void before the universe was born. The void shot out from his eyes. Wherever it went, the divine power of nature, the laws of heaven and earth, Ming Yan's demon god overturning the heaven's seal, his devilish aura, and everything else turned into nothingness. All matter, energy, and laws returned to their original state. Luo Tsong exclaimed from the blood jade. All things in the universe are born from nothingness. Dao Hongtian has cultivated the eternal great Dao to such a level, tracing back to the origin of the heavenly Dao. Such a peerless genius came from the immortal world. This kid's future is limitless. Chi. Not only did Death Blaze's divine might vanish, but the thick demonic aura around him also disappeared. Then his physical body, after holding on for a moment, was melted layer by layer by layer by the power of eternity. In the end, only the two blood horns on his head shone with a shocking blood-red light. They actually blocked Dao Hongtian's divine power and floated in the air. After using this divine power, Dao Hongtian seemed to have used up all his energy. His eyes closed again and his aura weakened. He couldn't use it a second time. The demon saint was killed by Dao Hongtian. In the Heaven's Fate platform and the viewing space, everyone was deeply shocked by Dao Hongtian's divine power. The mid-level Dao realm immortal primes were also trembling. They couldn't resist such a terrifying divine power. Even if they didn't die, they would be severely injured. Even high-level Dao realm immortal primes like Dao Master Han Su and Divine Cauldron Dao Master had to use their divine powers to resist. Cheers and exclamations broke out in the Haotsong Sky City. The entire Heaven's Fate Haotsong sect was overjoyed by Dao Hongtian's victory. Who would have thought that just as the crowd cheered, there would be a sudden change in the battle space? The eternal great Dao's divine power is indeed extraordinary, but it's far from enough to suppress me. Ming Yan's sinister voice came from the two blood horns. In the next moment, the blood horns suddenly burst into flames, spewing out blood-red flames that spread rapidly. The blood-red light flickered eerily. After a while, it condensed into a flaming blood devil. It was none other than the demon race's holy son, Ming Yan. Ming Yan's aura was completely different from before. He exuded a terrifying divine power of fire. It wasn't the power of fire, but the divine power of fire that could devour and incinerate everything. However, only one blood horn was left on his head. Dao Hongtian's divine power had caused him great damage. Piak. Ming Yan's blood-red body shrank and condensed into a body of flesh and blood. He returned to his demon-looking human form. You made me lose nearly half of my life force. Dao Hongtian, you've really surprised me. But how much power do you have left? I only need one finger to kill you. I'll give the Heaven's Fate Haotsong sect some face. Admit defeat. Ming Yan looked at Dao Hongtian with sinister eyes, as if he wanted to devour him. I've lost. Dao Hongtian's bitter voice sounded. The battle space released a surge of divine power, and sent him to the destiny platform. The world is changing and the heavens are about to die. The heavenly Tao is on the side of the demon race. Today, I will crush all the peerless geniuses of the great world under my feet. In less than 10,000 years, the demon race will conquer the great world. All the cultivators of the immortal path will become slaves of the demon race. The immortal path will become a wasteland. Ha! Ming Yin laughed maniacally and looked down at the destiny platform with disdain. He was like a demon god that had descended and crushed the destiny platform, the heaven's fate Haotsong sect, and the entire immortal path under his feet. Defeated, even Dao Hongtian had lost to the demon saint, Ming Yin. Who else could compete with him? =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1562. Ming Yin in confrontation on the destiny platform. The peerless geniuses of the immortal Tao bowed their heads in agony. In the viewing space, the experts of the immortal Tao heaved heavy sighs. Some experts from other factions and secluded experts found it difficult to accept such an outcome. They all stood up and left the viewing space. In Heavenly City, after a brief moment of silence, despair appeared on everyone's faces. Some even broke down in tears. Kill the holy son of the demon race. That's right. How can the heavenly fate bright sect allow a demon to be so arrogant? Attack together and kill him. Of course, it's easy to kill Ming Yin. That way, the immortal Tao will be even more humiliated and the demon race won't suffer much loss. Why do the higher-ups of the heavenly fate bright sect allow Ming Yin to participate in the Tao Disciple Tournament? It's because the peerless geniuses of the immortal Tao are useless. It's not the heavenly fate bright sect's fault. The demon race is so strong. Is it really as Ming Yin said? Is the immortal Tao about to be destroyed? If Ming Yan's victory over Dao Hongtian was only a matter of face, then the calamity brought about by the upheaval of the world would be even more devastating. This Tao Disciple Tournament has become a platform for the holy son of the demon race to display his strength. The rest of the competition is meaningless. Disperse. After whispering to each other, the crowd was about to disperse, their hearts filled with despair. On the destiny platform =N_R, Ming Yin passed through the formation and returned to the destiny platform. Ming Yan's eyes flashed red. He glanced at the geniuses of the immortal Tao and laughed loudly. Why aren't you guys starting the top 10 battle? When you're done, I'll go to the top of the destiny platform to receive the heavenly Tao's recognition and become the child of destiny. The peerless geniuses glared at him, their eyes burning with fury. Suddenly, Su Fong suddenly mocked. Ming Yin, I haven't lost a single battle in the top 10 battle, just like you. Now you think the Tao Disciple position is in the bag. Isn't that laughable? Everyone was stunned, and then they suddenly remembered that it was just as Su Fong had said. Su Fong had also won every single one of the top 10 battles of the Tao Disciple competition. His battle record was exactly the same as Ming Yan's. He recalled how Su Fong had created a series of miracles in the Tao Disciple competition. First, he had activated the Heavenly Mandate Seed and defeated Ming Yin in the elimination round. Then, he had surpassed Ming Yin in the second round. Why couldn't he create another miracle? A glimmer of hope ignited in the hearts of the immortal Tao cultivators who had fallen into despair. However, when people saw Su Fong's white hair and aged appearance, he looked like an old man with one foot in the grave. Under such circumstances, how could he possibly create a miracle? The flames of hope that had just been ignited in people's hearts were instantly extinguished. Ming Yin scoffed. How dare you challenge me in your current state? Why not? Su Fong asked coldly. Your courage is commendable, but it is also extremely foolish. Since you are courting death, how can I not fulfill your wish? This time, I won't do what I did to Dao Hongtian. I'll devour you directly. It's a pity that you don't have much life energy left. If you were at your peak, perhaps I would be able to make up for my loss by devouring you. Ming Yin sounded very regretful. Su Fong replied domineeringly. The fiends are really each more arrogant than the last. I once suppressed 2 demon supremacies. At first, They were just as arrogant as you. In the end, they were all devoured by my yellow spring blood sea and became my cultivation resources. Are you talking about those useless demons from man tribe? Other than the barbarian god, how many people from a man tribe are worthy of my attention? Just as well, I will use this opportunity to finish you off once and for all. The barbarian god will also owe me a favor. Ming Yan's lips curled into a disdainful smile, and a domineering aura arose from him. At that moment, Dao Master Han Su transmitted his voice to Su Fong. Su Fong, can you really still fight with Ming Yan? Su Fong replied, I need elixirs, spirit items, and resources to recover my life energy. I also need fire elemental spiritual items. It would be best if there is a peak grade Vastyong pill. Only then can I recover to my peak condition. You have expended so much life energy. Even if I give you these things, how can you recover in such a short time? Did Dao Master forget that I have cultivated the yellow spring blood sea? How can the yellow spring blood sea have such a heaven-defying ability? Dao Master Han Su's voice was filled with disbelief. Dao Master, do you think I would joke around with my life? I will give you an N_1. Dao Master Han Su was still unwilling to give up. He held onto a sliver of hope for Su Fong, and after a moment of contemplation, he said decisively. Then, with a surge of divine power, he appeared in front of Su Fong with a storage ring. There was no seal in the storage ring. Su Fong peeled off a strand of his consciousness and entered it to take a look. He raised his eyebrows, and his eyes shone brightly. There were 10,000 divine essence pills in the storage ring, as well as countless other elixirs and spirit items. It was even more than what he had plundered from the Jihong Dojo's secret vault. Dao Master, this is not enough. This is not enough. This amount of resources is enough for you to cultivate to the immortal supremacy level. Is it still not enough? Dao Master, look at how badly sect leader injured me. Shouldn't you at least give me some compensation? I will give you another 10,000 peak grade Vastyong pills. This is already a small portion of my wealth. I cannot give you more. Also, I will postpone your battle with Ming Yan to 3 months later. You must hurry up and recover. Dao Master Han Su was very straightforward. However, he continued to threaten, but let me say this first. If you can't win backface for the sect, even if Ming Yan doesn't kill you, the sect won't let you off easily. We will always remember the debt you owe us for killing Xiao Zhaotian. Thank you, Dao Master. Su Fong received another 10,000 peak-grade Vastyong pills. He was very happy. The battle with Ming Yan was unavoidable. He would first collect some interest from the Tianming Haotsong sect. He put away all the elixirs, spirit items, and resources that Dao Master Han Su had given him, and let the dragon bird devour the Vastyong pills in the Heaven and Earth Dao Palace. Su Fong continued to devour lightning ginseng and blood-nascent pills to recover his life force to the maximum. Dao Master Han Su made some adjustments to the battle of the top 10. Apart from Ming Yan, Su Fong, and Dao Hongtian, there were 5 other people who would meet each other. The battle between Su Fong and Ming Yan was postponed to the end. In the end, apart from Ming Yan and Su Fong, Dao Hongtian was in 3rd place with 2 losses out of 10 battles. Next was Liu Tian, Feng Ling, Bei Ling Tian, Tua Yu, and Dao Xin Tian. Feng Ling and Tua Yu not only made it to the top 10, but also surpassed the top 10 disciples of the Tianming Haotsong sect. This caused quite a stir. However, everyone's attention was on the final battle, so they did not pay much attention to them. 3 months later, the battle that would determine the Daoist position and the glory of the Tianming Haotsong sect and the immortal Dao finally arrived. Su Fong, although I have an unfair advantage, since you insist on fighting with me, I will fulfill your wish. Come. Ming Yan was the first to enter the battle arena. He shouted disdainfully, Su Fong, can you hold on? Jihong's celestial supremacy was also a little nervous and worried. No worries. Su Fong smiled faintly. After 3 months of recovery, Su Fong's hair had turned grayish-white, and he looked like a middle-aged man in his 40s. Such speed of recovery caused everyone to be incomparably shocked. However, he was still very far from his peak state. It was indeed worrying that he would fight Ming Yan in such a state. Ming Yan's strength was obvious to all. Even Dao Hongtian had been defeated by him. If Su Fong was in his peak state, there might be some hope. However, he had not fully recovered yet. How could he fight against Ming Yan? Although his courage is commendable, he is just humiliating himself. Lu Yutian and many other immortal Dao cultivators had the same opinion. In Haotsong Sky City, in the image created by a divine power in the sky, Su Fong stepped into the battle arena step by step. Looking at Su Fong's figure, each and every one of them felt as if their hearts had stopped beating. The huge square, and even the 81 training halls of Heaven City, fell into a tense atmosphere at this moment. From Su Fong, people saw fearlessness. They knew what it meant to fight without hesitation and what it meant to be solemn and stirring. Almost no one thought that Su Fong could win. Only a few people, including Dai Yi and the green-feathered demon Arch, were holding on to a glimmer of hope. However, Su Fong's actions had completely convinced everyone. Even if he lost, it would be a great honor. It's amazing that he can recover to this extent in such a short time. However, to fight me in such a state, is he really stupid, or is he hiding something? Ming Yan was surprised to sense Su Fong's aura. This person's talent is heaven-defying. He is one of a kind among immortal Dao cultivators. Even Dao Hongtian is not as good as him. If he is given enough time to grow, he will be a great threat to the demon race. Even I will not be able to catch up to him. I will not allow him to grow. I must kill him this time. Ming Yan dispelled the doubts in his heart, and a strong killing intent surged in his heart. Swoosh! A violent and evil aura burst forth from Ming Yan as his body shot out like a cannonball. He charged towards Su Fong with a terrifying aura that seemed capable of conquering the world. Ming Yan was planning to crush Su Fong with his incomparably powerful physical strength. Boom! 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 Su Fong activated his formless golden dipper body and transformed his hands into metal axes and hammers. He clashed with Ming Yan. After a series of clashes, Su Fong was forced back by Ming Yan. The demon race's physical body was too strong. Ming Yan's strength had surpassed the early-stage demon supremacy and was even stronger than Manshur and Bone River demon supremacy. The power of Ming Yan's fist contained a strange blood-red flame that could melt the power of metal. Su Fong's amorphous golden body's power, which could turn matter into metal, was also melted by the blood-red flame and could not compete with Ming Yan's power. Show me your true strength. Just like a shooting star, release your final brilliance. Otherwise, you will end up dim under my hands. You won't even have the chance to release your final brilliance. Wouldn't that be a pity? Ming Yan sneered. He was domineering and arrogant. =_R download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1563. Powerful counterattack, how arrogant. Gigantified diamond body, Herculean divine palm. Su Fong smiled coldly. Chi Xiao. Su Fong's skin flashed with golden electric currents after he activated the giant King Kong transformation. His body expanded crazily and emitted a mysterious divine aura. He turned into a 400 feet tall golden giant. He was awe-inspiring and majestic like a god of war. Clang! Clang! In his gigantified form, Su Fong swung his arms and bent his body like a bow. He punched the air with his fists, one palm after another, carrying a divine aura that could shatter everything. The golden palms pounced on Ming Yan one after another. God-tier divine ability. Now, this is interesting. Although Ming Yan said it with disdain, he didn't dare to be careless. Su Fong's gigantified diamond body was fierce, domineering, and masculine at the same time. It had an innate ability to counter the power of demons. No matter how arrogant Ming Yan was, he didn't dare to be careless. He transformed into a ferocious heavenly devil and struck out with one devil palm after another, clashing with Su Fong's Herculean divine palm. Although he successfully neutralized Su Fong's attack, he was forced to retreat by the Herculean divine palm's ferocious aura. Screech! Su Fong activated his sword orb. Enveloped by the instant space power of the sword orb, His huge body shuttled through the void and appeared close to Ming Yen. Using his gigantified diamond body, he punched out with a devastating blow. Bam! Ming Yen was caught off guard by Su Fang's astonishing speed. He hurriedly raised his arms to block, but was sent flying by the punch that contained boundless divine power. To think that there's such a powerful physical body among immortal cultivators. Not bad at all. Divine ghost body art. Ming Yen licked the corner of his mouth with his tongue, revealing a sinister smile. His body twisted strangely. Whoosh! Ming Yan's body shot out like an arrow from a bow. His body split into more than a dozen clones. They looked like afterimages, but they also looked real. All of them charged at Su Fang together. It was hard to tell which one was real and which one was an illusion. Ming Yen was using the divine ghost body art of the demon race. He was using it to the extreme. Not only was it his speed, but also his aura. That was the same divine ghost body art. It was Ming Yan's divine ghost body art. Boom equals N_1. Su Fang acted as if he didn't see the other illusory figures attacking him as he threw a punch at the Death Blaze figure on his right. Boundless divine power once again sent Ming Yen flying, and the other illusory figures shattered along with him. Is red Ming Yen, Ming Yen, Ming Yen Li Ming Yen, Ming Yen 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 Ming. Ming Yen was shaken to the point where blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He had suffered some minor injuries from Su Fang's punch. His eyes were filled with surprise and shock. He didn't know that Su Fang's physical body was at the divine ghost body art. His eyesight, hearing, and other senses were almost on par with high-level Dao realm immortal supremacies. Coupled with the divine ghost body art's ability to sense the aura of destiny, it was a piece of cake for Ming Yen to break his divine ghost body art. After the battle, Su Fang had returned to his normal state. He looked like he had used too much yang energy and couldn't maintain it. I wanted to toy with you. Looks like I have to use some of my strength now. Ming Yen had planned to humiliate Su Fang and then suppress him like a cat toying with a mouse. However, the result was beyond his expectations. Chi. Unlike the natural divine might of the fire element, the bloody flames of the death flame not only contained terrifying heat, but also had the evil ability to evaporate and even devour divine art attacks, and even cultivators' chi, blood, and life force. What a powerful chi! Chi! Su Fang took out the flaming cloud's spiritual gourd. The chi! The chi! The chi! The great world actually has such a domineering flame. Blood flame devour. Ming Yen was shaken once again. Mysterious demonic runes appeared on his body, causing the blood-red flames on his body to surge. As they burned, the celestial fire of the 9 suns melted away, and Ming Yan's blood-red flames dimmed significantly. Chi! Get lost! Su Fang transformed into a dragon man. His body was covered in green dragon scales. His palms had turned into dragon claws. Chi! Su Fang. It's over. What a clown. Chi! Everyone sighed when they saw this. Some disciples of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect sneered. Watch out! Dao Heng Tian, Feng Ling, Tua Yu, and the others shouted. Dai Yi, the green-feathered demon arch, and the others were also worried for Su Fang. Their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Su Fang, admit defeat. Qihong Holy Man roared at the critical moment. Su Fang didn't seem to be able to fight back at all. Chi! Suddenly, Su Fang smiled coldly. The mysterious Taoist scriptures of fate suddenly appeared around the divine aperture or inside the sea of Dharma power. They burned and burned Ming Yan's primordial spirit demon snake layer by layer. At the same time, the blood avatars that Su Fang had left in the true dragon world quickly merged with his original body. His head instantly turned black, and the face of a middle-aged man turned into the face of a 17 or 18-year-old youth. With his recovery ability and the lightning ginseng blood nascent pill, as well as a large number of pills and spirit items, how could he not recover to his peak state in 3 months? Su Fong left the Bloodwater doppelganger, which contained most of the life force in the Jinlong realm. On the surface, it still looked like it had not recovered. In addition, he used the divine secret life shrinking technique to conceal his aura. Not only the death flame, but also the experts of the immortal path in the viewing space could not detect him. Natal form, Emperor's Qi, dragon subduing true body, golden dragon claw. Qi. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda merged with his physical body. The 300,000 big goblin in his body channeled their true Qi and demon Qi into the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Qi. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. A huge golden claw that was hundreds of meters long struck out with an unparalleled aura. In order to catch his opponent by surprise, Su Fong didn't use any powerful divine ability or Dao item. Instead, he used the profound Yellow Tyrant Dragon Claw. The profound Yellow Tyrant Dragon Claw was domineering and fast as lightning. Qi. Shock flashed in Ming Yan's eyes. He was caught off guard by the terrifying attack that could kill a mid-stage immortal venerable. He didn't have time to cast any divine ability and could only use the bloodhorn on his head to collide with the claw. Qi. The fact that Ming Yan's bloodhorns had shattered it showed just how powerful the explosion of the bloodhorns was. Compared to the 2 bloodhorns that had appeared on Su Fong's body after he activated his blood transformation true form, it was much harder and more powerful. Qi. Although Ming Yan's physical body was extremely strong, his physical defenses were still shattered under Su Fong's attacks. The sharp dragon claws scratched his body so deep that one could see his innards. Demonic blood spurted out and dyed the floor of the battle arena red. Qi. The experts and cultivators on the Heavenly Fate stage, inside the Heavenly Fate stage, and in the luminous heavenly city had turned into statues. The demons, who were known for their powerful physical bodies, were being ravaged by an immortal cultivator's physical attacks in a domineering manner. Su Fong has been hiding his true strength since the beginning of the Dao disciple competition. This child's talent, strength, and various divine abilities are heaven-defying. He also has such a terrifying, scheming mind. Extraordinary. This child is extraordinary. Who said the Qi? Qi. Awesome, this is awesome. After a brief moment of shock, the crowd burst into waves of praise, cheers, and joyful cheers. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. Ming Yan let out a roar filled with anger and humiliation. A blood-red flame suddenly shot out from his body and turned into a wave of fire, dissolving Su Fong's attack. Qi. Su Fongxuan transformed into a 100-feet-long divine dragon. He threw his head back and let out a divine dragon roar that could shake the world. The supreme divine dragon might roared and rolled, shattering the demonic sound waves and the demonic faces into pieces. At this moment, the divine dragon that Su Fong had transformed into was completely different from before. It was majestic and awe-inspiring. Wherever its divine might enveloped, all living beings would submit and worship it. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1564. The divine dragon that Su Fong had transformed into swung its tail, unleashing a terrifying aura. Once again, it charged out and clashed with Ming Yan. Boom, 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 boom. The terrifying collision of physical strength shook the battle platform. The peerless geniuses on the Destiny platform were shocked to their core. Lui Wetian and Dao Xiantian were especially shocked. They had been defeated by Su Fong in the previous battle. Although they had admitted defeat, they were still unwilling to admit defeat. Now that they saw Su Fong and Ming Yan clashing, they realized that Su Fong had the ability to crush them. Louis Wetian and Dao Xintian trembled when they recalled how they had mocked Su Fang and what had happened to Mo Wutian. Half an hour later, after a violent collision, Su Fang and Ming Yin used the force of the collision to pull apart the distance between them. Su Fang's dragon aura was almost depleted, so he had to withdraw from his divine dragon form and return to his normal state. On the other hand, Ming Yan's body was riddled with wounds. Although they healed quickly, his aura was rapidly weakening. In a clash of physical strength, he was completely at the mercy of Yi Shiwen. Su Fang's consumption wasn't light either. The greater transformation of the Vajra body, the origin state, and the divine dragon state caused his perfect physical body to bear a huge burden. His dragon chi, life force, and yang chi were all at an unbearable level. I thought that I had never underestimated you and treated you as an enemy stronger than Dao Hengtian. I never thought that I would underestimate you. You are qualified to make me use all my strength. Struggle in front of my divine power. Demon God world, overturn the heavens and earth. A demonic aura rose from Ming Yan's body and filled the entire battle platform. The evil energy of nature was shrouded by the demonic aura, and the entire space turned into a terrifying demonic realm. Chi, 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 chi. All matter and energy in the space were demonized and devoured. Even the laws of nature were replaced by the violent and evil demonic aura. Demon God, overturn the sky seal, suppress. Ming Yin was like a demon god descending from the heavens. Under the divine power of the demon god world, he used the most powerful divine power of the demon race. Demon God, overturning the sky seal. In an instant, a gigantic demonic hand quickly condensed in the air, releasing a terrifying aura that could overturn heaven and earth. It fell towards Su Fang, and everything in the demon god world was about to be suppressed by this demonic hand. The battle between Ming Yin and Su Fang had finally come to a conclusion. Such a shocking divine ability was even more shocking than when Ming Yin fought with Dao Hengtian. When the cultivators of the immortal Dao saw this, their expressions changed and their hearts rose to their throats. Dao Hengtian had to use the supreme technique of the eternal Dao to neutralize Ming Yan's attack. Su Fang's cultivation was far inferior to Dao Hengtian's, so how could he resist this shocking attack? The misty primordial realm, the power of the world of yin and yang. At such a critical moment, Su Fang no longer held back. He activated the world seed and released the power of the yin-yang world, as well as the ethereal primordial realm. This time, Su Fang not only activated the power of the world seed, but also radiated the power of his own world formed by the Tao Palace of heaven and earth. He combined it with the ethereal primordial realm and used the power and laws of the Tao Palace of heaven and earth to create a world. Unlike the cultivators who extracted essence from heaven and earth and borrowed power from the stars to communicate with heaven and earth to create their own space, Su Fang turned his own body into a world. His world was only a prototype, and he had to use the Tao of illusions of the ethereal primordial realm to transform the divine power of his world into a real world. However, he did not need to use the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. In this world, he was the absolute ruler. He was the source of the world's power and laws. The Tao Palace of heaven and earth formed by his world seed and yang meridian was the universe of this world. His gold, fire, wood, and other powers were the source of this world's power and laws. Although the power and laws were not complete, and the laws were not perfect, and were still in a chaotic and primitive state, it was still an independent world that was independent of heaven and earth. What is this divine power of his world? On the viewing platform, the immortal Tao experts could see that the divine power of his world released by Su Fang was extraordinary. It was slightly different from the self-space created by ordinary cultivators using the power of their world. However, they could not tell what was so special about it. The essence of the cultivation technique was that humans had to cultivate the world just like how the world was born. They had to transform themselves into a world and master the true immortality. Only when the power of the world, the comprehension of the laws, and the ability to control it had reached the extreme, would they try to transform themselves into a world just like the universe of heaven and earth? Although the immortal venerables present were powerful, they were still at the level of comprehending and controlling the laws of heaven and earth. They had not reached the level of transforming themselves into a world. As for Su Fong, he cultivated the 9 changes of the 9 suns, the supreme Tao of heaven, the yang meridian and world seed that formed the Tao palace of heaven and earth. In addition, he had various true bodies, the great Tao of refining, and other abilities and opportunities. That was why he was able to transform himself into a world at the saint immortal realm. His cultivation of the world has actually reached such a high level. I found a peerless treasure this time. Jihong, immortal venerable, could faintly see something, and his head buzzed. Boom! The divine power of Ming Yan's demon god world collided with the 9 serenities, sky-covering seal, and Su Fong's world. After a violent tremor, Su Fong's world shattered layer by layer, but it did not completely collapse. The 9 serenities, sky-covering seal, on the other hand, shattered. Ming Yan's most powerful attack had been forcefully blocked by Su Fong's world. How is this possible? The divine power of a saint immortal realm cultivator's world can actually resist my 9 serenities, sky-covering seal. Ming Yin was dumbfounded, and his heart was in turmoil. Divine power of the world, suppress. Su Fong's divine power of the world extended outwards, and Ming Yan's demon god world shattered layer by layer before finally collapsing with a loud crash. Meanwhile, Ming Yan's body was enveloped by Su Fong's divine power of the world. No matter how powerful Ming Yan's divine power was, it still relied on the natural energy of heaven and earth to cast it. On the other hand, Su Fong's divine power of the world completely belonged to him. It was easy to determine the difference between the two. In that instant, Ming Yin felt that he had lost his connection with the evil yang energy that was everywhere in heaven and earth. It was as if he had entered an alien space that was isolated from heaven and earth. As the demon race's holy son, he was able to kill ordinary mid-level immortal venerables. At this moment, he couldn't use any other divine power of the demon race except for his physical strength. Su Fong was the ruler of this world, and he, Ming Yin, was just an insignificant ant. His physical strength was so insignificant in Su Fong's world. Ming Yin, are you still not going to admit defeat? Su Fong's majestic voice was like the heavenly Tao. No, in the world he had created, he was the heavenly Tao. Admit defeat? There are only demons who die in battle, and never demons who surrender. Who do you think I am? How can I admit defeat to an immortal Tao ant like you? Just kill me. Ming Yin was still as arrogant as ever. Su Fong sneered. Kill you? I was stopped by the peerless experts of Tianming Hao Song sect when I was trying to kill the young master of Qing Yun immortal sect. Because of that, I lost more than half of my life force. If I kill you now, I'm afraid someone will directly suppress me. I won't kill you, but Su Fong activated the divine power of the world of Yin and Yang, concealing his own world. Now, the immortal Tao experts in the viewing space, including Jihong, immortal venerable, couldn't see what was happening inside. A purple chi rose from the top of Su Fong's head and quickly condensed into a purple chi canopy that was almost 300 feet tall. A supreme force of fortune burst out, filling the entire world with mysterious purple chi. At the same time, Su Fong's world was also endowed with supreme fortune. Heavenly secret life, shrinking technique, devour fortune. Su Fong began to activate the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, displaying the essence of the great Tao and chanting it with his primordial spirit. Asterisk, Pu, asterisk, an invisible hand clawed at Ming Yan's body. Ming Yin could feel that something of utmost importance was being forcefully taken away by this giant hand and assimilated into the surrounding world. At this moment, Ming Yin felt that something was missing from his body. He was no longer under the protection of the demon god. He was no longer the blessed holy son of the demon race. He could even face a calamity at any moment. This feeling made him shudder with fear and despair. Su Fong, you stole my fortune. As the demon race's saint, Ming Yin knew very well how Su Fong had killed Manshur and Bone River Demon Venerable and suppressed tens of millions of demon race soldiers. He also knew that Su Fong had a supreme divine power that could devour the fortune of a cultivator or even an entire army. He had originally thought that brutal Demon Venerable was exaggerating to hide his failure. Now, Ming Yin finally understood that brutal Demon Venerable had not exaggerated. Instead, he had underestimated Su Fong's supreme divine power. I won't rest until I'm dead. To a cultivator, losing one's luck was even more terrifying than losing one's cultivation base and life force. Ming Yin let out a furious roar like a ferocious beast in a desperate situation and pounced on Su Fong. Boom! Su Fong waved his hand, and a surge of divine power descended. It was as if a mountain had crashed into Ming Yan's body, causing him to spit out blood. After letting out a roar of despair and unwillingness, Ming Yan, who was both shocked and furious, immediately fainted from his heavy injuries. Su Fong felt powerless and weak all over his body, almost unable to stand. He had used almost all his strength in this battle. Apart from his true qi, his yang qi, all his physical strength, including the power of his yin-yang world and life force, were almost depleted. His hair had turned white while his body trembled, and a gust of wind was capable of blowing him down. At this moment, any sane immortal realm cultivator would be able to easily crush him. Su Fong retracted his power, and the battle platform returned to normal. Everyone was speechless when they saw the unconscious Ming Yin on the battle platform. Su Fong also looked like the weakest. However, in the eyes of the peerless geniuses on the Destiny platform, in the eyes of the peerless cultivators in the viewing gallery, and in the eyes of the countless cultivators who had seen this scene through the divine power paintings, he was incomparably towering and majestic. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1565. A Taoist, a cultivator from the desolate celestial domain at the edge of the great world. He was born lowly, and his cultivation was only at the 8th path Saint Celestial Realm. He defeated the demon race's holy son and the young master of the Azure Cloud Celestial Sect to win the Battle of the Taoists and become the Taoist of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. In an instant, Su Fong was like a rising sun that made the 5 suns in the sky pale in comparison. Lord Tao Master, can I announce the outcome? Su Fong looked at the viewing space and asked weakly. Su Fong wins the final battle of the Taoists. Tao Master Han Su's voice was filled with excitement and agitation. Rest for a while. We'll discuss the matter of the Taoist after the higher-ups of the sect discuss it. The Taoist was the future candidate of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. Su Fong won and became the Taoist without a doubt. However, Tao Master Han Su had no right to make a decision on such an important matter. It had to be discussed by the higher-ups of the sect before it could be announced. Of course, that was just a formality. Su Fong came to the Destiny platform through the array. Dao Hongtian cupped his fists and said, "Congratulations, Brother Su." Feng Ling, Tu, Lu Yuetian, and the others came forward to congratulate him. They were all polite and respectful. Even the arrogant Dao Xin Tian was the same. Only the heavens knew what they were thinking. Su Fong sat down on the Destiny platform. His body turned into a bloody liquid state and devoured the elixirs crazily. Lightning Ginseng Blood Nascent Pill, Vast Yang Pill, Divine Essence Pill, Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill, and various other spiritual items were quickly converted into true Qi, Yang Qi, and Life Qi by the Acheron Blood Sea. They were then absorbed by Su Fong's body. At the same time, Su Fong activated his dragon-subduing True Body and Black Lotus True Body. His strength was quickly recovering. In the True Dragon Realm, Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, and the other big goblin experts, Old Monster Zhu Tian and the other experts, hundreds of thousands of elite subordinates, and Yu Miaomei all cheered thunderously. Su Fong's achievements had earned their respect and pride. At the same time, as Su Fong's status changed, their status would also rise. With a limitless future, How could they not be overjoyed? Sister Bai Ling, I've decided. Yu Miaomei clenched her fists and said firmly to Bai Ling. After staying by Su Fang's side for more than 100 years, Yu Miaomei had cultivated the ethereal true scripture under Su Fang's guidance. She was already a virtual immortal. Although her cultivation realm wasn't high, her talent and speed in cultivating the ethereal true scripture left Su Fang in awe. Little girl, what have you decided? I've decided to marry Tian Bao when I grow up. Bai Ling was dumbfounded by the young but firm voice. In the viewing space, Ji Hong, Immortal Venerable, laughed heartily. The other Immortal Dao experts all came forward to congratulate him. Yang Ju, Immortal Venerable, gritted his teeth and sighed helplessly in the end. Once Su Fang became a Taoist, even he, as the leader of a dojo, had to bow to him. He could only swallow the grudge of Zhaoyin's death. While the Divine Cauldron Holy Venerate congratulated the Ji Hong Immortal Venerate with a smile, he was also very anxious and regretful. He was determined to obtain the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit. If Su Fang was only the young master of Ji Hong Dojo, it would be easy to kill him and obtain the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit. However, if he really killed a Taoist of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect, even 10 Divine Furnace Holy Venerables wouldn't have the guts to do so. If I had known this would happen, I would have killed Su Fang when I obtained the Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit from Xianshu. What should I do now? Divine Furnace Holy Venerable glanced at Su Fang on the Destiny platform and felt a wave of regret. It was a pity that Lady Frozen Dream had taken Xuanxin Fairy away from the inner world of the Dojo Mystic Realm, where the Destiny platform was located. Otherwise, who knew what kind of expression she would have? At this moment, Haotsong Sky City was in an uproar. Su Fang, his background was acknowledged by countless cultivators of low birth. Even the arrogant disciples of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect prostrated themselves in admiration of his talent and strength. More importantly, Su Fang defeated the demon race's holy son and turned the tide. Everyone was talking about Su Fang. His past deeds were spread rapidly and infinitely exaggerated. The scene of him fighting in the Taoist competition was made into a jade slip, and people went crazy over it. In just a few days, Su Fang's name spread across the central immortal domain and then across the greater world. Dai Yi had placed a heavy bet on Su Fang before the competition between the top 10 Taoists. Her net worth had suddenly skyrocketed. The astronomical number of immortal stones made her dizzy for a long time. Great Elder Yun and the mercenary expert Song Shui were even more polite to her. The Grand Star Hall even sent a Vice Hall Master to accompany her and ask her to communicate with Su Fang. Lord Demon Sage, what do you think of Su Fang? Demon Emperor Azure Feather asked smugly in a restaurant in Haotsong Sky City. The blue-robed cultivator exclaimed in admiration, "Extraordinary, truly extraordinary. I didn't expect such a stunning genius to exist in the immortal Tao. Perhaps the hope of the immortal Tao lies in him." Demon Emperor Azure Feather was delighted to hear the demon sage praise Su Fang. He'd watched Su Fang grow to such heights and treated Su Fang like family. He was happier than Su Fang for his achievements. Lord Demon Sage, would you like to meet with Su Fang? I came to the immortal Tao world with the intention of forming an alliance with the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect to fight the demon race and resurrected powerhouses together. But now it seems that the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect's upper echelons are weak and incompetent. They're not worthy of an alliance with the demon realm. I didn't expect to see the rise of a peerless genius like Su Fang. Naturally, I'd like to meet with him. In an inn in Haotsong Sky City, cultivators from a myriad waves of mortal sea were also discussing Su Fang. Lang Liyun was the only one who remained silent. His heart was filled with bitterness. Once upon a time, Su Fang was just an ant in his eyes. But now, compared to Su Fang, he couldn't even be considered an ant. The huge contrast made him lose the courage to be jealous of Su Fang. There was also a thunderous robed, immortal venerable with a gloomy face. Lightning flashed in his deep eyes from time to time. He was the Lord of Thunder Night Island. These days, he found out a lot about Su Fang. It wasn't difficult for him to know that the heavenly slaughter lightning emperor was suppressed by Su Fong. No matter what kind of peerless talent you have, I won't let you go since you dare to kill my avatar. The Lord of Thunder Night Island smiled coldly. A terrifying thunder technique that could destroy heaven and earth surged around him. Whoosh, Dao Master Han Su, the host of the Taoist competition, came to the Heaven's Mandate platform. I'll now announce the rankings of the Taoist competition. Tao Master Han Su said majestically. Although the rankings of the Taoist competition were already very clear, everyone was still excited. First place, Jihong Dojo's young master Su Fong. Second place, Demon Lord Saint Ming Yen. Third place, Tianyi Dojo's Dao Heng Tian. Fourth place, Tianyi Dojo's Lu Yuetian. Fifth place, Tianyi Palace's Feng Ling. Sixth place, Tianyi Dojo's Bei Ling Tian. Seventh place, Tianyi Palace's Tuoyu. Eighth place, Tianyi Dojo's Dao Xin Tian. Among the top 10, Mo Wutian had died unexpectedly. The young master of the Azure Cloud sect had withdrawn, so there were only 8 left. Next, we'll announce the prizes of the Taoist competition. Then, Su Fong, who won first place, will climb to the top of the Heaven's Mandate platform and accept the heavenly Tao's conferment. Tao Master Han Su's next word surprised everyone. Su Fong raised his eyebrows. Strange. Tao Master Han Su didn't announce the Taoist position. Did the higher-ups of the Tianming Haotsong sect make some other decision? What's so strange about that? Said Luo from the blood jade in the depths of his body. The Taoist of the Tianming Haotsong sect is the candidate for the next sect master. The Tianming Haotsong sect is the #1 faction of the immortal Tao. It claims to represent the heavenly Tao, dictate the fate of all beings, and control the firmament. Why would they easily hand over the position of future sect master to an outsider like you? Although you're Jihong Dojo's young master now, in the eyes of the sect's higher-ups, you're still an outsider from the desolate immortal region. Then why did they hold this Taoist competition with such great fanfare? It's very simple. The higher-ups of the Tianming Haotsong sect originally thought that Dao Heng Tian was destined to take first place in this Taoist competition and become the Taoist. The Tianming Haotsong sect held this Taoist competition with such great fanfare just to increase Dao Heng Tian's prestige. They didn't expect Ming Yin, the demon race's saint, and you to take first place in the competition. The Tianming Haotsong sect, such a sect. I, Su Fong, don't care about the so-called Taoist. I just need to get my hands on the blood jade. Su Fong was furious, but he wasn't dissatisfied. His goal in participating in the Taoist competition wasn't the position of Taoist, but the blood jade. I'm relieved that you can think this way. The position of Taoist is just an empty one to you. Even if you really become Taoist, who knows how many schemes will be directed at you. Climb to the peak of the great Tao without any distractions. This is a true cultivator. Greed for power will only lead to nothing in the end. The Tianming Haotsong sect may be powerful, but it's not your ultimate goal. Your goal is the end of the world, the myriad worlds. Thank you for your guidance, Luo. I understand. Su Fong controlled his breathing and calmed down, waiting for Tao Master Han Su to give out his reward. Whoosh, Tao Master Han Su struck out a xianguang from the center of his palm. Within the xianguang, there were many items, including Tao artifacts, elixirs, jade slips, and treasures of heaven and earth. Among them, there was a flying sword that exuded an astonishing sharpness and aura of the great Tao. It was a royal gray Tao artifact. Compared to the Yinshao Thunder Sword and the twin Swords of Destruction, it was at the same level, but its power was slightly inferior. The elixir exuded a mysterious green divine light, and a faint fragrance overflowed from it. Taking a breath, one would feel that every pore on one's body was incomparably comfortable. It was a divine elixir, and its quality was much higher than the divine essence elixir. There was also a piece of rotten wood that was about a foot long. It seemed to be a piece of trash, but it exuded an ancient aura. Just a glance at it gave one the illusion of the cycle of time. It was a legendary piece of divine wood that was born at the beginning of the formation of the great Tao. Heavenly desolate wood. If such a piece of divine wood was used to refine a spiritual treasure, it could release a terrifying power of time. Or it could be used to comprehend the great Tao of time, which would be of great benefit. Equals _ our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1566. Every prize was a rare treasure in the great world. The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect had put in a lot of effort to take out so many treasures in one go. Although the top 8 of the Tao Disciple Tournament already knew what the prizes were, their eyes shone brightly when they saw the real thing, and they kept swallowing their saliva. It wasn't just these peerless geniuses. Even the peerless immortal Tao experts in the viewing space were envious when they saw the prizes. Even the Jihong Immortal Venerable was staring at the heavenly desolate wood with eager eyes. Su Fang's gaze, however, fell on a prize and didn't look away. It was a blood-colored immortal stone that emitted a bloody light and contained an indescribable aura of life. Blood Jade. This reward was none other than the blood jade that Su Fang had been dreaming of. Deep inside his body, in the burning blood-colored cage, Law, who had always been calm and collected, could no longer remain calm. He trembled, and his eyes exuded a terrifying bloody light. Whoosh! One of Su Fang's young immortal entered the blood jade. Law, is this blood jade a fragment of the complete blood jade that sealed you? Although Su Fang's great perfection ability could sense that the blood jade had the same aura as the one in his body, he couldn't be sure. That was because the blood jade was too important to Law. That's right, this blood jade is a fragment of the complete blood jade, and I can sense that a part of my primordial spirit is in it. Law, is this true? How can I be wrong when it's a part of my primordial spirit? Law, don't worry. I'm first in the Tao Disciple Tournament and have the right to choose the prize first. This blood jade belongs to me. Su Fang was pleasantly surprised when he heard Law's confirmation. The young immortal left the blood jade. Su Fang wasn't the only one paying attention to the blood jade. While Su Fang was focused on Shuiyu, someone else was staring at Shuiyu with greedy eyes. It was the holy son of the devil race, Ming Yin. Ming Yin was severely injured in the final battle with Su Fang. After being rescued by the heavenly fate Bright Azure sect, he didn't leave. Instead, he stayed on the heavenly fate stage for the blood jade. This blood-red immortal stone seems to be completely useless, but I know that it came from a clan that was once glorious in the large world. It contains extremely shocking vitality and vitality. If I devour it, not only can I quickly recover my strength, I can even break through my current realm in one go. Aside from me, Death Flame, no one else knows the origin of this blood-colored immortal stone. No cultivator of the immortal Tao would be able to fuse with it, and no one would choose this seemingly useless item. It belongs to me. Ming Yan's eyes flickered with blood-red flames as if he wanted to swallow the blood jade whole. Meanwhile, from the viewing space, there was another gaze that pierced through space and landed on the blood jade. This person was an immortal supremacy powerhouse wearing the Taoist robe of the heavenly fate Bright Azure sect. He sat cross-legged at the back of the viewing space. Like Qi Sword Immortal Supremacy and Jihong Immortal Supremacy, he was also the supremacy of one of the 81 Taoist temples of the heavenly fate Bright Azure sect. This person was none other than Immortal Supremacy Xianlin, who offered the blood jade as a reward for the Tao Disciple competition. I wonder what kind of fish this blood jade will catch in the end. Immortal Supremacy Xuanlin's divine light swept across the 8 peerless geniuses on the heavenly fate stage, and a strange smile appeared on his face. Tao Sovereign Han Su smiled and looked at Su Fang. Su Fang, you won first place in the Tao Disciple competition and defended the glory of the heavenly fate Bright Azure sect and the immortal Tao. Therefore, you have the right to choose the reward first. Moreover, the higher-ups of the sect have decided that you can choose 2 rewards. Choose 2 rewards. Exclamations sounded on the heavenly fate stage. The peerless geniuses looked at Su Fang with envy and jealousy. Which one of these rewards wasn't a supreme treasure of the great world? Even the sect master of the heavenly fate Bright Azure sect might not have one. Su Fang could actually choose two. Not only those peerless geniuses, but even Dao's sovereign Han, Su, was a little jealous. Su Fang sneered in his heart. He saw through the intentions of the higher-ups. How can the higher-ups of the heavenly fate bright azure sect be so kind as to let me choose two treasures? They're clearly planning to use treasures to shut my mouth. Then, when the sect revokes my position as Dao disciple, I won't be able to say anything. Since there were two treasures to choose from, Su Fang naturally wouldn't be polite. He walked forward, and his divine light swept across the treasures one by one. Then, he revealed a hesitant look. Su Fang was a meticulous person. If he had chosen the blood jade right from the start, it would have inevitably aroused the suspicions of others. After all, in everyone's eyes, the blood jade was the most useless reward. At this moment, the Jihong Celestial Lord transmitted his nascent soul voice. That divine pill is a mid-grade pill from the Great World. It's very useful for peak stage Dao realm experts. You can use this pill to break through to the Celestial Lord realm. There's also that jade slip that contains the heavenly fate bright azure sect's supreme ability, the heaven sealing scripture. You can choose these two rewards. Master, thank you for your reminder. I have already made my decision. Su Fang responded and then reached out to grab the heavenly desolate wood. Poof! The external Xian Guang shattered. Su Fang grabbed the heavenly desolate wood and put it into his inner world. The Jihong Celestial Lord was surprised. You actually chose the heavenly desolate wood? That's not bad. This item can be used to refine treasures with the power of time. It has unexpected benefits for your cultivation of the 4 seasons Samsara seal. Not bad. Looks like you plan to focus on cultivating my 4 seasons Samsara seal. I'm very pleased. After hesitating for a while, Su Fang reached out to grab the blood jade. Suddenly, a cold shout sounded. This item is chosen by me. You can't take it. Huh? Su Fang looked at Ming Yan in surprise. He was not surprised at all. Long before the Dao disciple battle began, Su Fang was worried that the demon race and resurrected experts, who were very sensitive to the blood jade's life energy, would discover some secrets of the blood jade and try to obtain it. Su Fang had the right to choose first, so he did not have to worry about anything. Su Fang smiled coldly and said, I have the right to choose any reward. Why can't I choose this blood-colored immortal stone? Ming Yan's domineering and rude voice sounded. You have no use for this blood-colored immortal stone, but I am somewhat interested in it. Since I have chosen it, you naturally can't choose it. How dare you be so arrogant after losing to me? I originally had no interest in this blood-colored immortal stone, but since you want it, I, Su Fang, will choose it. Su Fang revealed a domineering aura. He broke the Xian Guang and held the blood-colored immortal stone in his hand. Then he put it into his body and directly inserted it deep into his body. The blood jade was finally in his hands. Su Fang's purpose in coming to the heavenly fate Hao Song sect was to obtain this blood jade. Now that he had achieved his goal, Su Fang's heart was finally lifted. Su Fang, I will remember this kindness. Law's trembling voice came, and then it was silent. Obviously, he couldn't wait to integrate with this blood jade. He could not be blamed for being impatient. He had been sealed in the blood jade for countless years alone. Although he could not be sure if he could escape from the seal after fusing with the blood jade, there was at least some hope of escaping. How could he not be excited? Sensing Law's emotions, Su Fang was also very happy. Ever since he came to the Great World and obtained the blood jade, Law had helped him immensely. Now that he could finally repay Law, Su Fang felt a lot more relaxed. Ming Yan's eyes were burning with blood-red flames. He said sinisterly, Su Fang, are you purposely trying to anger me? Do you know the consequences of angering me? Su Fang said disdainfully, you were trampled by me in our previous battle, but I didn't see you do anything to me. Feng Ling and Tua you couldn't help but burst out in laughter. Even Dao Hongtian's eternally unchanging face revealed a smile. Boom! Ming Yan's demonic aura exploded. He was obviously extremely angry. Put away your arrogance. This is the Heavenly Fate Hao Song Sect's Heavenly Fate platform. You have no right to be arrogant here. If you're not convinced, you and I can fight again, Su Fong said domineeringly and looked at Ming Yin provocatively. Su Fong had the yellow spring blood seas devouring ability, as well as the dragon-subduing true body and Black Lotus true body's recovery ability. He had already recovered half of his strength. On the other hand, Ming Yin was still severely injured. Even if he was in peak condition, he would definitely be suppressed if he fought with Su Fong again. How would he dare to fight with Su Fong again? Ming Yin had no choice but to suppress his anger and threaten Su Fong. Su Fong, I will remember what happened today. As long as you are not afraid of humiliating yourself, I will fight with you whenever you are interested, Su Fong replied disdainfully. He then cupped his fists and said to Dao Master Han Su, I have something to report to Master. I will be leaving for a while. Please allow me. Dao Master Han Su waved his hand. Go. Su Fong left the Heavenly Fate platform and went outside the viewing space. Su Fong, what do you need from me? The Ji Hong, Celestial Lord, flew out of the viewing space and asked with a smile. Su Fong took out the Heavenly Desolate Wood and offered it respectfully with both hands. He said, This Heavenly Desolate Wood is a gift to Master. Please accept it. The Ji Hong Celestial Lord was shocked and stunned. He waved his hand and said, This is your reward. How can I take it from you? Su Fong said firmly, Ever since I became Master's disciple, Master has treated me like a son, but I have never been filial to you. Please accept the Heavenly Desolate Wood, Master. Otherwise, I will be disappointed. When the immortal Dao powerhouses in the viewing space saw this, they couldn't help but be envious of the Ji Hong Immortal Venerable. Su Fong then chuckled and said with his essence spirit, The Heavenly Desolate Wood is a treasure of the great world. Who knows how many cultivators have their eyes on me? If they want to steal it, I will not be able to protect it. Why don't I give it to Master so that no cultivators will covet it? Besides, I don't lack treasures. There are treasures more valuable than the Heavenly Desolate Wood. The Ji Hong Celestial Lord was touched. Su Fong's last words were an excuse. He naturally knew that it was an excuse. To the Ji Hong Celestial Lord, the Heavenly Desolate Wood was not only used to refine spirit treasures or cultivate. It also had a more important use. If it were other cultivators, it would be natural for them to steal a disciple's treasures and resources. When Su Fong chose the Heavenly Desolate Wood, the Ji Hong Celestial Lord had no intention of taking it for himself. However, he never thought that Su Fong chose the Heavenly Desolate Wood for him. I'm proud to have a disciple like you. After putting away the Heavenly Desolate Wood, the Ji Hong Celestial Lord's eyes became moist. Our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1567. In order to compete with the demon race's holy son, Ming Yin, Su Fong chose a useless blood-colored immortal stone and lost the chance to obtain a supreme treasure for nothing. This made the peerless powerhouses of the immortal Dao scoff at him. Su Fong's choice of the Heavenly Desolate would made many immortal Dao powerhouses envious. If such a divine wood was refined into a spirit treasure, it would be able to release the power of time after activation. Its power would be unparalleled. Just as Su Fong had expected, there were indeed some immortal Dao powerhouses who were greedy for the Heavenly Desolate Wood. With Su Fong's current fame and status, although they wouldn't forcefully plunder it, they would definitely bring some trouble to Su Fong. Unexpectedly, he didn't expect it. Su Fong actually offered it to immortal venerable Ji Hong in public. Those powerhouses who had designs on the Heavenly Desolate would completely gave up on the idea. Su Fong's actions made many powerhouses praise him. Just as Su Fong was about to leave, an extremely dangerous feeling suddenly arose in his heart. At the same time, the Dao runes of destiny suddenly flashed in the depths of his divine aperture C and condensed into two old men. The power of the major perfection stage surged into the viewing space. Sure enough, there were two different auras that were stimulating the heavenly secret life shrinking technique in his body, causing the Dao runes of destiny to surge. Immortal Venerable Xianlin? There's actually Dao Venerable Divine Furnace. They're actually sensing my aura, and have killing intent towards me. Su Fong was shocked. Back then, Su Fong asked Wu Liang to inquire about immortal venerable Xianlin and the blood jade, so he naturally obtained immortal venerable Xuanlin's portrait. At this moment, he recognized at a glance that the immortal venerable powerhouse who was sensing his aura was immortal venerable Xianlin. As for Dao venerable divine furnace, he was the great elder of the heavenly fate bright azure sect, an absolute powerhouse in the sect. His cultivation realm had also reached the high-level Dao artifact realm, so Su Fong naturally knew his identity. At this moment, Su Fong had cultivated the heavenly secret life, shrinking technique, to a new level. Anyone who had killing intent towards him and posed a threat would have a reaction from the Dao runes of destiny. When immortal venerable Xianlin offered the blood jade to the sect as a reward for the Dao disciple competition, Su Fong felt that it was a little strange. At this moment, he actually had killing intent towards Su Fong. This made Su Fong feel even more strange. This venerable Xianlin wasn't simple at all. The fact that Holy Man Divine Cauldron was the same confused Su Fong even more. At this moment, the purple Chi Dharma spirit original soul in the purple Chi space said, "Master, the Divine Cauldron Holy Man has a very strong primordial purple Chi on him. He is clearly a treasure refining master. He's harboring ill intentions towards master. He's most likely here for Azi." He then tried to sense immortal venerable Yang Ju and immortal venerable Qi sword. Xiao Zhaodian was completely erased by Su Fong's Tianji life shrinking technique. Immortal venerable Yang Ju had even forgotten that he had such a disciple. He only vaguely remembered that Su Fong had killed a very important junior of his. Therefore, he was filled with hostility towards Su Fong, but he didn't have any killing intent. As for immortal venerable Qi sword, the way he looked at Su Fong was actually a little fawning. How did Holy Man Divine Cauldron know that I have a purple Qi Dharma spirit? Let's not bother about him for now. This heavenly fate Haotsong sect is like a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. I must be 120% vigilant. Otherwise, if I'm not careful, I will be swallowed up without leaving anything behind. Su Fong became highly vigilant in his heart. In the viewing space, Su Fong also sensed a gaze lingering on him. Taking a closer look, it was actually Zhang Rian. In the second round of the Dao Disciple competition, Zhang Rian made it all the way to the 9th stage. Later, she was eliminated during the competition for the top 10 spots. Although she was extraordinary compared to the peerless geniuses of the other great worlds, her cultivation realm was still too low. But Zhang Rian didn't leave. She was brought to the viewing space by Ni Xia, Immortal Venerable. She had been paying attention to Su Fong's every move, her deep eyes filled with admiration. Could it be that Zhang Ruoyan? Seeing the look in Zhang Ruoyan's eyes, Su Fong's heart skipped a beat. But when he thought of Fairy Xuanxin, he wiped away the ripples in his heart and returned to the Heaven's Fate platform. The other geniuses had already chosen their prizes. Except for Ming Yan, all of them looked very happy. Su Fong. Holy Man Hanshu's eyes flashed as he looked at Su Fong and said majestically, "You have won first place in the Dao Disciple competition. Logically speaking, you should be the Dao Disciple of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. But because you killed Mo Wutian and ruthlessly attacked your fellow disciples, the higher-ups of the sect have discussed and decided that you must ascend the Heaven's Fate platform. Climb to the top of the Heaven's Fate platform and accept the Heavenly Dao's confirm it. If you are recognized by the Heavenly Dao and become the chosen child, the sect will confer you the title of Dao Disciple." Holy Man Hanshu's words stunned the other peerless geniuses. Some felt indignant for Su Fong, while others secretly gloated. Su Fong laughed coldly in his heart. Just as I expected, because of my background, even if I won first place and defeated Ming Yan to save face for the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect and the Immortal Dao, I am still an ant in the eyes of the sect. Why would they give me the position of Dao Disciple? I don't care about being the Dao Disciple of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect, but to treat me so unfairly. The Immortal Dao cultivators in the viewing space were not surprised. How can a sect go back on its words? In the history of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect, how many people have been recognized by the Heavenly Tao and become the chosen child? To treat Su Fong so unfairly, how can he convince the others and lead the immortal Tao? Ji Hong, immortal Lord, roared. Holy man, Shenlu said majestically. Ji Hong, don't be rude. This is the sect's decision. Do you dare to go against it? Holy man Ji Hong's eyes burned with anger, and he was about to argue for Su Fong. Su Fong said loudly, Master, you don't have to argue for me. Since the sect wants me to climb to the top of the Heavenly Fate platform and accept the Heavenly Tao's decree, how can I not obey? Although I, Su Fong, am not one of the top 10 disciples and don't have a powerful family background, I still want to try and see if I can become the legendary chosen child. Holy man Han Shu said, as long as you become the chosen child, you will naturally be the Tao disciple of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. Su Fong, I will give you 3 years to recover. After 3 years, you will begin to challenge the highest peak of the Heavenly Fate platform. Everyone else, disperse. 3 years is enough. Su Fong smiled faintly. For a cultivator of his level, 3 years was just the blink of an eye. In the final battle with Ming Yen, he had suffered great losses. However, he did not need 3 years to recover. In his body, Law was at a critical moment of fusing with the Blood Jade. Su Fong could use this time to help Law. Brother Su, I have nothing to say about how the sect has treated you. However, with your talent and strength, it will not be difficult for you to reach the top of the Heavenly Fate platform. Whether or not you will be recognized by the Heavenly Tao will depend on your luck. I wish you the best of luck in becoming the chosen child. Dao Hengtian cupped his fists and bowed to Su Fong. He revealed a guilty expression and then floated away. Lu Yuetian, Feng Ling, and Tuayu also came forward and bowed to Su Fong before leaving the Heavenly Fate platform. Ming Yin glanced at Su Fong, his deep eyes flashing with a cold light, and left in embarrassment. After all the other geniuses left the Heavenly Fate platform, Su Fong sat down on the platform and removed a young immortal into the depths of his body. In the depths of his body, a shocking flame of life shot out from the Blood Jade and burned. The 2 irregularly shaped, blood-colored immortal stones were continuously fusing together, as if they wanted to fuse into a single entity equals N_1. However, even if the 2 pieces of Blood Jade could fuse together, it was still not complete. It was only the size of a palm, and there were obvious cracks on the edges. The Blood Jade was the treasure of Law's race. It had been suppressed for countless years. When the world changed, the Blood Jade broke into several pieces, and the primordial spirit escaped with the Blood Jade. At the same time, each piece of Blood Jade contained a fragment of Law's primordial spirit. Therefore, only by gathering all the Blood Jades and making Law's Yuan Shun complete could he break free from the shackles of the Blood Jades. 2 pieces of Blood Jade is obviously not enough to completely restore Law's freedom, but it should be of some use. Su Fong was worried about Law. His young immortal entered the Blood Jade. The young immortal passed through layers of blood-like formations, and 2 huge blood-colored cages appeared in front of him. Both were burning fiercely. Within each blood-colored cage was a shocking and mysterious flame of life. There was also a person wrapped in chains, sitting in the middle of the cage. It seemed to be made of blood. It was Law. The 2 cages gradually merged into one and were constantly burning, and the 2 Luos were also frantically struggling under the chains, trying to merge into one. Looking at Law's appearance, it would be difficult for him to get rid of the shackles of the blood-colored cage and merge the 2 primordial spirits. Su Fong's expression changed instantly. Law, how can I help you? One of the Luos said in a tired voice, I need your chi and blood to help me break the seal of the cage and relieve the shackles on me. Only then can I break the chains that bind my primordial spirit. In this way, my primordial spirits can merge together. Then you can walk out of the Blood Jade. Several pieces of the Blood Jade were broken, and now there are only 2 pieces. Obviously, it's impossible for me to walk out of the cage. It still can't help you regain your freedom. Su Fong was disappointed. 2 pieces of Blood Jade, Although it can't completely restore my freedom, it can help me break the chains. Maybe there's a little possibility of breaking the shackles of the cage and having a certain amount of freedom. Law was not discouraged at all. Instead, he laughed loudly and looked very excited. I've been suppressed for countless years and thought that I would be sealed forever. In the end, I would just wait for death. Now that I can regain some freedom, it's already a great surprise. What's there to be disappointed about? Law, don't worry. I will not only help you merge the two primordial spirit blood jades, but I will also continue to find other blood jades and even a physical body so that you can completely regain your freedom. I believe that day will come sooner or later. Now, help me merge my primordial spirits and break the chains. It's not easy, and it will consume a lot of your chi and blood. It will take a long time, and it may affect your climbing of the Destiny platform. Law, I climbed the Destiny platform just to fight for my pride and let the Destiny Hao Tsang sect know that I, Su Fong, am not a pushover. I don't really want to be the child of Destiny or the Tao child. The so-called heavenly Tao is the way of nature and the universe's stars. Therefore, the heavenly Tao is ruthless. How can it confer the title of child of destiny? You have to be careful. Things are not that simple. However, the power of the heavenly Tao's baptism has unimaginable benefits for your cultivation. It's a rare opportunity, and you can't miss it. You have to seize this opportunity. =_ our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1568. I'll remember. Puff, puff, Su Fong used his divine power to conceal his aura, and then used the yellow spring blood seed to shatter the flesh and bones inside his body, turning it into a blood state. Then he continuously swallowed the thunder ginseng blood nascent pill, vast yang pill, and other elixirs, as well as various spiritual objects and resources, and quickly restored his vital energy and life force to the peak state. From the outside of the body, nothing unusual could be seen, but inside Su Fong's body, it was a different scene. The blood roared and surged like a flood, burning with an astonishing flame of life. If not for Su Fong's intentional seal, the terrifying life force would definitely alarm the immortal Tao powerhouses in the viewing space. When the flame of life burned to the extreme, Su Fong controlled the flame of life and quickly rushed toward the blood jade in the depths of his body. Boom! Su Fong's flame of life wrapped around the blood jade and burned with a loud rumble. Puff, 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 puff. After obtaining Su Fong's life force, the two broken pieces of blood jade seemed to have melted, and the place where the broken edges connected was gradually fusing at a very slow speed =_1. And inside the blood jade, Law's two primordial spirits were surging with blood, as if the blood had solidified and burst out with a force to break free from the shackles of chains. Huff, huff, Su Fong's flame of life poured into the blood jade, accelerating the fusion of the blood jade, and at the same time, allowing Law to absorb chi and blood to break the chains that bound the primordial spirit. In order to help Law, Su Fong did not care about the price, and urged the yellow spring blood seed to crazily devour the remaining thunder ginseng blood nascent pill, vast yang pill, divine essence pill, yin yang immortal sky pill, and various spiritual objects and resources. And at the same time, he also urged the ability of the dragon subduing true body and the black lotus true body to replenish the consumed life force. Although Su Fong has a way to replenish the life force, but to constantly consume and then recover, what kind of courage and sacrifice is required? Su Fong, how lucky I am to have a friend like you. Within the blood jade, Law's heart was filled with gratitude. His eyes were filled with determination as he roared and attacked again and again, causing the chains to collapse one after another. In this state, 3 years passed in a flash. Puff, puff, Law's two primordial spirits, the last chain on his body completely shattered. The split primordial spirits overlapped with each other and then fused together tightly. The blood roiled and roared crazily. In the end, it solidified and turned into a young man in blood-red clothes in his early 20s. He had sword-like eyebrows, starry eyes, a square face, and a full beard. He exuded a bold and wild aura, wild and unrestrained, and his eyes flickered with a sharp light. To think that there would be a day when I would regain my freedom. Ha ha! After walking around the bloody cage, Law laughed loudly. The laughter shook the formation slightly, and the whole bloody cage trembled slightly. A young immortal from Su Fong appeared in the bloodwater cage and stopped 100 feet away. Seeing Law's appearance, Su Fong was also very happy, but seeing that he still couldn't get out of the bloody cage, Su Fong said, "Law, I must find all the blood jade and let you out of the blood jade, and I will help you find your physical body, so that you can completely recover your previous strength. The world has changed. The blood jade is broken and scattered in the world. It will not be easy to gather all the blood jade and to find my physical body. Let's not talk about this for now. You should recover first and prepare to climb to the top of the heavens will platform. My primordial spirit has just merged, and I need time to recover. After I recover, I will see if I can borrow your strength to break through the shackles of the cage." After 3 years of consumption, Su Fong's understanding and resources from the Jihong, Celestial Master, and the Hansu Holy Man were almost depleted. He did not have many lightning ginseng and blood nascent elixirs left, but he still had many vast yang elixirs, god essence elixirs, and yin yang immortal sky elixirs. After swallowing large amounts of vast yang pills and fire elemental spiritual items, Su Fong's Fire Cloud Emperor physique had undergone a significant transformation, and the 45th Yang Meridian could be successfully formed at any time. After swallowing large amounts of vast yang pills, the dragon bird had also undergone a further transformation, and its ability to release the sun god's arrow would be even stronger. However, Su Fong would not easily reveal the dragon bird's strength in front of others, as it would be Su Fong's trump card against the demonic cultivators. Su Fong did not release the dragon bird when he fought against Ming Yan. Half a month later equals N_1. Holy Manhan, Su's majestic voice sounded. Su Fong, 3 years have passed, begin. Whoosh, Su Fong suddenly stood up from the ground and looked at the top of the heavens will platform, his eyes shining with vigor. In the viewing space, the cultivators of the immortal Tao opened their eyes and focused on Su Fong. Below the heavens will platform, Dao Heng Tian and the other peerless geniuses had not left, as they were all waiting for this moment to arrive. In Bright Sky City, there were still countless cultivators in the public square. This moment was destined to be the center of attention. Heavens will luminous sky sect, since you've treated me so unfairly, I'll let you and the entire great world see that I, Su Fong, may come from a humble background, but I can also rely on my own strength to reach the top of the heavens will platform. I'll leave everyone speechless. Su Fong's eyes flashed with determination as he flew toward the top of the heavens will platform. The top of the heavens will platform was like the top of a pyramid, as if one could reach the end of the heavens. There were 10,000 steps in the heavens will platform. Although it seemed like only one step to reach the top, it was actually 10,000 feet high. There was no path to the top, so one could only reach it by flying. If they were outside, Su Fong, who was an 8 Dao Saint celestial stage powerhouse, would be able to cover a distance of 10,000 feet in a blink of an eye. However, the last 10,000 feet of the heavens will platform was like a path to heaven. As soon as Su Fong flew into the air, an ancient aura was released from the top of the heavens will platform and shrouded the entire heavens will platform. A terrifying force suddenly descended as though the heavens were pressing down on Su Fong. Boom! Su Fong's body fell instead of rising, and he almost fell to his original spot. Formless golden dipper body. Su Fong felt that he could not activate a Dao artifact, so he directly activated the formless golden dipper body. His body glowed with a golden light, and he looked like a man made of bronze. He exuded a sharp aura as he stepped into the air. Boom, 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 boom. 20 breaths later, Madame Su was like a peerless divine weapon. With an unstoppable momentum, she broke through layer after layer of astonishing shackles. In the span of 20 breaths, she had risen more than 300 meters. At this moment, boom! A divine light shot into the sky from the top of the heavens will platform and into the void. After a moment of silence, a loud rumbling sound came from the void above the heavens platform. The void twisted and a huge whirlpool appeared on the surface of the calm sea. A mysterious and vast aura quickly enveloped the entire star where the heavens platform was. In an instant, a divine aura that surpassed the heavens and earth shrouded the entire area. Even high-level Tao realm cultivators like Tao Master Han Su and Divine Calder Tao Master were affected by the shackles. This is the divine aura of the heavens and earth. The heavens platform can connect to the heavens and earth. The heavens Haotsong sect is indeed connected to the heavens and earth. The heavens Haotsong sects claim that they represent the heavenly Tao and control the fate of all living beings is not false. Sensing this divine might, the peerless experts from the Eight Forces, as well as some hidden experts, were incomparably shocked. Tao Master Han Su, Divine Cauldron Tao Master, and the other senior members of the Heavens Haotsong sect all looked smug. One of the objectives of the Tao Disciple competition this time was to display the relationship between the Heavens Mandate Haotsong sect and the various worlds to the experts of the large worlds, so as to awe and stabilize their position as the #1 power in the immortal Tao. Inside Luminous Sky City, the cultivators could see such a shocking scene from the images in the sky. At the same time, they could also feel the supreme divine might from the myriad worlds. All the cultivators trembled, and some even knelt down to worship. Under the divine aura of the heavens and earth, they were like ants. How could they not be in awe? Under the sudden explosion of the divine aura, Su Fang's body fell 50 to 60 feet before he could stabilize himself. If Su Fang can reach the top of the heavens platform, the gate of the heavenly Tao will open, and the baptism of the heavenly Tao will bestow upon him the title of Chosen One. Although Su Fang is extraordinary and can be called the #1 genius of the heavens and earth, under the divine aura of the heavens and earth, it will be difficult for him to reach the top of the heavens platform. In the viewing space, Zhang Riyun clenched her fists nervously. Su Fang will definitely reach the top of the heavens platform and become the Chosen One. The Anixia Immortal Venerable said faintly, "I hope he fails. That way, you still have a chance. If he becomes the Taoist of the heavens Haotsong sect, you won't have a chance to get close to him. Moreover, for him, becoming the Taoist of the heavens Haotsong sect is not a good thing." Zhang Ruoyun fell silent. Is this the divine aura of the heavens and earth? Su Fang felt that the genuine qi in his body could not circulate. Under the divine aura, it was as if he had just entered the great world from the small world and was shackled by the divine aura of the world. Not only could he not use any abhijna, but even moving his feet was extremely difficult. What a familiar aura from the blood jade in his body came the faint voice of law. I didn't expect the heavens platform to be so heaven-defying that it can communicate with the heavens and earth. In that case, won't the experts of the heavens Haotsong sect be able to go to the heavens and earth through the heavens platform? Or perhaps the deities of the heavens and earth can directly descend to the great world. That's absolutely impossible. The heavens platform is just a bridge between the great world and the heavens and earth. At most, it can only use the supreme abhijna to transmit the will and divine aura of the experts of the heavens and earth to the great world through the heavens platform. It is absolutely impossible to directly enter the heavens and earth through the heavens platform. If the deities want to descend to the great world, they can only go through the end of the great world and will be subject to many restrictions. After Law's explanation, Su Fang finally understood. Law warned again, this heavens Haotsong sect is not simple. It must be a force supported by one of the top forces in the divinity realm in the great world. The so-called Chosen One will certainly not be that simple. After you get on the heavens platform, you must be careful. It is best not to use abhijna technique or abhijna from the heavens and earth. == our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1569. Sang Dankaluo, I understand. Little Sang Danku? Su Fong gritted his teeth and looked up at the vortex with an unruly smile. Dragon subduing true body. Su Fong withdrew from the golden body and activated the dragon subduing true body. Roar. A dragon's roar filled with pride echoed across the sky. Su Fong had transformed into a godly dragon over 30 meters long. He raised his head and soared into the sky with a supreme aura that even the heavens and earth could not resist. 10 feet, 500 feet, 1,000 feet, 3,000 feet. In just 10 breaths, Su Fong rushed 5,000 feet and was about 4,000 feet away from the top of the Destiny platform. Boom, boom, boom. After 5,000 feet, the vortex in the sky spun faster and faster, and the divine power it released became more and more terrifying. It made it more difficult for Su Fong to move forward. Crack, crack, crack. Su Fong's dragon scales broke off one by one, and even his extremely strong and tough divine dragon body showed signs of cracking and collapsing. Fortunately, his divine dragon body had worn away most of the divine power of the heavenly way. Otherwise, even with his perfect physical body and various true body abilities, he would not be able to withstand it. 4 seasons Samsara Seal, Samsara Swordwill. After stabilizing himself, Su Fong withdrew from the divine dragon body and immediately struck out a series of hand seals with the Samsara of the 4 seasons and the passage of time. At the same time, he combined it with the underworld Samsara Swordwill to form a protective divine power around him that covered an area of 100 feet. As long as he did not reveal the aura of the immortal blood spirit, Su Fong did not have to worry about attracting the attention of the heavenly way and being punished by the Emperor of Netherworld. Besides, the divine power shackles at this time were not from the heavenly way, but from the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. Naturally, one of the top forces in the universe would not notice that he had used the divine power of the Emperor of Netherworld, unless he was coincidentally encountered by Shunjia Tianjun, who killed the Emperor of Netherworld. Su Fong had the supreme luck brought by the purple Qi Dharma spirit. How could such an unlucky thing happen to him? Under the protection of the Samsara divine might, Su Fong resisted the pressure of the heavenly way, and his body suddenly accelerated again. 6,000 feet, 7,000 zhang, 8,000 zhang. Su Fong's reincarnation, godly aura, shattered layer by layer under the godly aura from the myriad worlds. When he reached 8,000 feet, his reincarnation, godly aura, shattered. Boom! A shocking force struck Su Fong's body, causing many parts of his body to crumble. Blood spurted out from his mouth, and his aura suddenly weakened. Exclamations could be heard from the viewing space and below the heavenly fate stage. I've heard that it's extremely difficult to climb to the top of the heaven's fate stage, but I didn't expect it to be this difficult, let alone a sane immortal like Su Fong. Even immortal venerables like us won't be able to reach the top. Even an immortal venerable is as insignificant as an ant under the divine might of the myriad worlds. It's hard to resist. The immortal venerables discussed animatedly. They were shocked by Su Fong's performance, and then felt pity for Su Fong, thinking that it was impossible for him to reach the heaven's fate stage. The Jihong immortal venerable was burning with anger. He shouted at Holy Man Han Su, "Since the sect doesn't want Su Fong to become the Taoist, why did you ask for Su Fong to climb the heaven's fate stage?" Holy Man Han Su was silent for a while. The higher-ups of the sect, especially the sect, had gone too far with Su Fong. Su Fong was able to reach such a height under such terrifying godly aura. It's unbelievable. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to reach such a height. I'm not as good as him. Although Dao Hongtian's eyes were closed, he could still feel the entire process of Su Fong reaching the top of the heaven's fate stage. He couldn't help but feel admiration. Su Fong has such heaven-defying talent and strength, and he treats me so well. If I were to follow him. Feng Ling and Tuo, you looked at Su Fong's silhouette and were shocked. The thought of following Su Fong grew in their minds. Dao Xin Tian, Beiling Tian, and the other disciples of the Heaven's Fate Hao Tsong sect had a different reaction. They were all full of mockery and disdain. If it weren't for Dao Hongtian, they would have mocked him on the spot. Although Su Fang's talent and strength made them respect him, in their hearts, they were more jealous. Ming Yin sat cross-legged below the Heaven's Fate stage. He looked at Su Fang's figure, and his eyes flashed with murderous intent. This person is far stronger than me. He must be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, there will be no end to the demons. Boom! A majestic and shocking aura exploded from Su Fang's body. It formed a godly aura that clashed with the surrounding godly aura of the heavenly way. It turned out that Su Fang had activated the Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth to release the godly aura of the world of Yin and Yang. Together with the ethereal enlightenment, he had turned himself into a world that was independent of the heavens and earth. The power of the heavens was like a torrential flood, while Su Fang was like a warship going against the current, breaking through the wind and waves, tearing apart the endless shackles. In one breath, he had risen another 190 zhang. He was now only 10 zhang away from the top of the Heaven's Fate stage equals N_1. Rumble. The whirlpool in the sky spiraled and roared. Faint sounds of thunder could be heard and rays of light bloomed. It gave people the feeling that the door to the heavenly way was about to open. The higher he goes, the more terrifying the godly aura of the heavenly way is. Su Fang is seriously injured, but he still has the strength to reach such a height. It's a miracle that he can reach the top of the Heaven's Fate stage. In the last 30 feet, he will have to face the test of the heavenly way. It's 100 times, no, 10,000 times more difficult than the Heaven's Fate stage. It's not something that can be made up for with just talent and strength. The crowd was in a heated discussion. The whirlpool in the sky suddenly stopped spinning. The godly aura of the heavenly way disappeared without a trace. The dazzling rays of light flickered rapidly and finally condensed into a door with an area of 100 feet. In the blink of an eye, a will came from the door and instantly enveloped Su Fang. This will represented the heavenly way. It was majestic, sacred, cold, emotionless, and majestic. The experts of the immortal Tao far away in the viewing space and the peerless geniuses below the Heaven's Fate stage only felt a little of this aura. Their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. They couldn't help but want to kneel down and submit to this supreme will. Su Fang's body swayed, and his face turned ghastly pale. Under this will, he felt like an insignificant ant. As long as he put up the slightest resistance, he would be mercilessly obliterated. However, at the same time, he also felt that although this will was cold and emotionless, it didn't have any killing intent. It was a test. If he could withstand the test, he would be recognized by the heavenly way. Of course, if he couldn't withstand the test, his will and Tao heart would collapse, and he would be mercilessly killed. The heavenly way was merciless. Why would it care about the life and death of an ant? Seeing this scene, everyone became nervous. The Jihong immortal sovereign clearly knew how powerful this will of the heavenly way was. He shouted at Su Fang from a viewing space. Su Fang, if you can't withstand it, give up and leave the Heaven's Fate stage. I'm a master of my own fate. My will can't be suppressed by the heavenly way. Under the terrifying pressure of the will, Su Fang raised his head. His eyes were unyielding and unyielding. There was even a hint of contempt and mockery hidden deep inside. This was contempt and mockery towards the Heaven's Fate Haotsong sect and the so-called heavenly way. Boom! A sovereign's divine aura exploded from Su Fang's body. Then a purple aura shot up from the top of his head. It condensed into a mysterious purple aura canopy that covered an area of 300 feet. It was like the ceremonial guard of a supreme king when he went out on an inspection tour. The two auras merged and formed an imposing aura. The will of the heavenly way that enveloped Su Fang shattered layer by layer. This was a supreme domineering aura that said, if the heavens want to suppress me, I must break the heavens. It was a kind of pride that the heavens and earth were floating and my fate was in my own hands. It was also an emperor's fortune that even the heavenly way couldn't suppress. It condensed into a shocking divine aura that burst out powerfully. Boom, boom. Su Fong stepped into the air step by step. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 feet, 6 feet. Every step Su Fong took was very difficult. His entire body trembled. The purple aura canopy above his head also shattered layer by layer under the will of the heavenly way. It was compressed from 300 feet to only 5 or 6 feet. However, his steps were extremely firm. There was no trace of fear or intention to retreat in his eyes. This boy's Tao heart and will are even stronger than a divine weapon. Such an astonishing emperor's fortune can actually resist the will of the heavenly way. Su Fong is simply heaven-defying. The people who saw this scene felt a rumble in their heads. They fell into an extremely intense shock. The peerless geniuses and cultivators were so nervous that their hearts were about to jump out. Their reverence for Su Fong had reached an indescribable level. Purple Chi Dharma Spirit. That's the purple Chi Dharma Spirit. Seeing the purple aura canopy above Su Fong's head, Holy Venerable Shunlu's eyes shone with an astonishing light and unconcealable greed. Boom! The purple aura canopy above Su Fong's head shattered with a loud bang. The Emperor's divine aura that it released also shattered with it. And Su Fong took advantage of the final impact to step onto the top of the Heaven's Fate arena. The will of the heavenly way disappeared. Su Fong seemed to have unloaded 1,000 pounds of burden. From his mind to his body, he felt unprecedentedly relaxed and fell to the ground with a plop. Then, a wave of exhaustion that he had never felt before came over him like a tidal wave, and Su Fong almost lost consciousness. Su Fong, hold on. A thunderous roar came from the depths of Su Fong's body, jolting his nascent spirit awake for a moment. Su Fong fiercely bit the tip of his tongue. The sharp pain immediately woke him up, and he staggered to his feet. His body was trembling, but his back was straight. There was a smile on his face, and his eyes flashed with an incomparably hearty and resplendent light. Success! Su Fong actually passed the test and stepped onto the top of the Heaven's Fate arena. Such a person is rarely seen in thousands of years. This child is heaven-defying. The immortal Tao has such a peerless genius. It is the blessing of the entire immortal Tao. Su Fong, the child of Heaven's Fate. In an instant, waves of exclamations rang out in the viewing space below the Heaven's Fate arena in Haotian City and in the 81 sites of the Heaven's Fate sect. Like a tsunami, they shook the heavens. Su Fong's figure became the only existence in the hearts of countless people. He was firmly imprinted in their minds and would never be erased. == our download address. Mobile reading bibliography. Chapter 1570. Su Fong actually made it to the Destiny platform. The people who were most shocked were the Grand Elder of the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect and the sect's leader. Why was that so? Su Fong had displayed incredible talent and strength during the Tao Disciple Tournament, shocking the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect's leader and many other high-ranking officials. They had to admit that Su Fong was a peerless genius that was hard to come by in a million years. If it had been any other competition, the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect's leader and high-ranking officials would have treated Su Fong like a treasure and taken him in without hesitation. However, the Tao Disciple Tournament this time was a competition to choose the next sect leader of the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect. The sect's higher-ups had long decided that Dao Hongtian would be the next sect leader. The Tao Disciple Tournament was just an opportunity to increase Dao Hongtian's reputation. Who would have thought that a peerless genius like Su Fong would appear out of nowhere? Although Su Fong was the young master of the Ji Great Dojo and a disciple of the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect, he had only joined the sect for a short time. Moreover, he was from a desolate celestial region at the edge of the great world. Naturally, the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect's leader and high-ranking officials did not think highly of him. Moreover, Su Fong had killed Mo Wu Tian. As one of the top 10 disciples in the Heavenly Mandate Bright sect, Mo Wu Tian naturally had a powerful background in addition to his talent and strength. Due to this reason, The heavenly mandate bright sect's higher-ups had set up obstacles for Su Fong to climb to the top of the destiny platform. They wanted him to fail so that they could rightfully strip him of his status as a Tao disciple. Who knew? Su Fong had defied the heavens and ascended to the top of the destiny platform. In the history of the heavenly mandate bright sect, there were many peerless geniuses who had ascended to the destiny platform and obtained the recognition of the heavenly Tao to become the children of destiny. However, Su Fong had ascended to the destiny platform with an 8 Tao Saint Immortal Stage cultivation base. This was unprecedented in the history of the heavenly mandate bright sect. There would definitely be no one like him in the future. The heavenly mandate bright sect's higher-ups, including the sect leader, felt as though they had been slapped in the face by Su Fong. Rumble. In the center of the huge whirlpool in the sky, a huge gate that was 1,000 feet tall was fixed in place. It was like a gate that led to the heavens. A mysterious rainbow-colored light was released from the gate of heaven and landed on the destiny stage. Su Fong was enveloped by the multicolored light. It involuntarily rose up slowly and arrived in front of the door. Immortal of the lower realm, you have passed the test of the heavenly Tao and entered the gate of heaven to receive the baptism of the heavenly Tao's divine power and receive the heavenly Tao's conferment. An aged and wispy voice sounded out from the door. It carried a supreme dignity and contained the will of the heavenly Tao that no one could defy. Su Fong hesitated for a moment, then stepped into the door and disappeared. It was even difficult to sense his aura. What did it mean to reach the heavens in a single bound? The scene before him was like reaching the heavens in a single bound. After entering the heaven gate and receiving the baptism of the heavenly Tao, one's cultivation, realm, and even cultivation talent would definitely undergo a great transformation. Furthermore, he had been conferred by the heavenly Tao and would definitely become the sect master of the heavenly fate bright firmament sect in the future. Even the leader of the heavenly gate bright firmament sect and the demigod experts who had been in the sect for countless years could not change this reality. This person has reached the heavens in a single bound. In the viewing space, the immortal path experts, including Holy Man Han Su and Holy Man Shenlu, were all envious. My disciple is so powerful. Even if the sect doesn't recognize him, the heavenly Tao will recognize him. Jihong, Immortal Master, laughed heartily. He was very pleased, and made Holy Man Han Su's old face feel hot. The peerless geniuses below the destiny stage were not only envious, but also jealous. Only Dao Hung Tian remained calm and indifferent. Of course, he was not pretending to be calm, but that was his nature. In the bright firmament city, countless eyes were fixed on the heaven gate on the Ubijna screen in the sky to bear witness to this moment. Whoosh, Su Fong passed through the door and felt a sense of weightlessness as if the world had been turned upside down. It was as if he had traveled through the endless void of the world and experienced countless years. When all the abnormal situations disappeared, the scene in front of him had changed drastically. It was as if he had left the great world and arrived in the divine world. In the vast space, misty clouds curled up like a mirage. Splendid palaces and pavilions, as well as endless lands, mountains, forests, and rivers could be seen. This was not the real world, but a world created by the supreme Ubijna of the myriad worlds. It was not much different from the real world, but it also had the terrifying power of the great world, as well as spiritual energy and shackles equals and _1. In this space, there was an ancient aura that existed when heaven and earth were formed, which made Su Fong fearful and shocked. Under the power of the great world, Su Fong felt that it was difficult for the vital qi in his dantian to move. However, although Su Fong's physical strength and the power of the yin-yang world were strongly shackled, he could still move them. At this moment, a cool breeze blew from the void, making Su Fong feel refreshed. Not only did the power of the great world's shackles lessen, but even his spirit and physical body seemed to have been baptized. The exhaustion from climbing to the top of the heavens platform had been recovered. From the void in front of him, a golden xianguang flashed, and quickly condensed into a shadow. His appearance was not clear, but he could vaguely see that it was a middle-aged man with an aura of nothingness and supreme majesty. It made people unable to have any thoughts of resistance or blasphemy. Su Fong glanced at the shadow and immediately felt a stinging pain in his eyes. He saw a golden light in front of him and quickly closed his eyes. This is the deity of the myriad worlds? It's just a spiritual projection, but it has such a terrifying aura. Su Fong was shocked. In front of the deity of the myriad worlds, he felt as insignificant as an ant. Cultivator from the lower realm, you've passed the test and entered the heaven gate. On behalf of the heavenly Tao, I'll bestow you with supreme fortune and confer you the title of Son of Heaven. Open up your primordial spirit, body, and dantian so that I can baptize you. You're only at the 8 Paths Saint Celestial stage. How can you pass the test and enter the heaven gate with such a weak cultivation base? Did the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect cheat? The golden phantom let out a majestic voice, which was like heavenly thunder, rumbling in the sea of Su Fong's divine aperture. When he discovered Su Fong's cultivation base, he was not surprised at all. A hint of surprise could be heard in his voice. You're actually at the perfected fleshly body realm, and you also have other special constitutions. It seems like the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect has found a good seedling this time. Not bad, not bad. Unfortunately, your cultivation base is too low. You'll be able to absorb less divine power of baptism. Come, try your best to absorb the divine power of baptism. Let's see how much good fortune you'll obtain. With a wave of the golden shadow's hand, strands of auspicious aura surged out from the mountains, pavilions, and palaces. They gathered together and formed a whirlwind that shrouded Su Fong. Whoosh! Su Fong could only hear the whistling of the wind in his ears. Strands of wind entered his body through his skin before it quickly seeped into his flesh, blood, bones, and meridians. It reached every corner of his body. Pa! 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 A vast aura surged out of Su Fong's body. The wind formed by the auspicious aura seemed gentle, but it instantly exploded with a ferocious force when it entered his body. Su Fong's body, including his blood, bones, and meridians, were being impacted by the divine power again and again as his marrow was being cleansed. The impurities in the placenta surged out of his skin layer by layer and turned into black granules. The stench that had just spread out was immediately turned into nothingness by the auspicious aura. Su Fong felt his flesh and blood burning. It was extremely painful. However, after the intense pain, he felt incomparably comfortable. This feeling of pain and comfort made Su Fong want to cry and laugh at the same time. You can actually absorb so much divine power, as expected of a cultivator with a perfect physical body. It's rare to see someone like that in the myriad of worlds. Since you have this ability, I'll bestow upon you more good fortune. The auspicious aura around Su Fong gradually became thinner. After a moment of surprise, the golden shadow waved his hand again and summoned a whirlwind. Boom! Su Fong continued to absorb the divine power. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, an astonishing life force that could surpass all the life in the world suddenly burst out from the depths of his body. It surged into his flesh, blood, meridians, and bones. In an instant, Su Fong's meridians, bones, blood, and flesh were rapidly growing. The magic power in the sea of divine apertures also had a mysterious energy. His young immortal was also undergoing a shocking transformation. Su Fong's cultivation realm was also continuously rising in this short period of time. First, it rapidly rose to the peak of the 8th Tao Saint Immortal realm. Then it broke through the peak in one go. The aura on his body and the Tao marks engraved in his divine apertures and body had all become 9. 9th Tao Saint Immortal realm. This time, due to the divine power's purification, there was no tribulation aura or tribulation fire when he advanced. He advanced just like that unknowingly. 9th Tao, Saint Immortal Realm. After another advancement, his entire body underwent a qualitative transformation. Su Fang was very happy. However, he did not stop absorbing the divine power. He had used all his strength to fight for this opportunity. If he missed it, he would not have another chance. Without hesitation, Su Fang activated the world seed and crazily absorbed the divine power. You can still absorb it? Aren't you afraid of exploding your body and Dantian? Lower realm cultivators are really greedy. Then, I'll let you suffer a little. The golden shadow snorted coldly and summoned another whirlwind. The palaces and pavilions in the space, as well as the mountains and the earth, suddenly became much blurrier. Asterisk sizzle, asterisk the world seed continued to absorb the peaceful aura. The small sapling that was only 1 foot tall was also growing rapidly. In less than an hour, it had grown to 3 feet tall. The fire cloud emperor physique, black lotus true body, and dragon subduing true body had transformed into buds. They were like bamboo shoots after a rain. The seed at the bottom of the sapling had disappeared. Instead, it grew roots. The main root was connected to the yang meridian. The world seed had finally grown into a world tree. Although it was still very weak, it was still a tree and not a seed. The world tree emitted a mysterious origin energy that filled the heaven and earth Tao palace. The 6 origin laws, especially the fire and wood laws, were constantly evolving in the heaven and earth Tao palace. The power of the world of yin and yang had become even pure divine power. Heaven and earth Tao palace. The golden shadow sensed the abnormality. A divine light that could see through everything swept Su Fang's body. Immediately, Su Fang's heaven and earth Tao palace appeared. =_ download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1571. Luo's ability. A lower realm cultivator can actually cultivate the wheel of heavenly Tao and cultivate the world to such a level. The golden silhouette was no longer just surprised. Instead, it was shocked beyond belief. With a wave of his hand, the peaceful aura formed by the divine power around Su Fang was swept away. Oh no, I got carried away and forgot Luo's warning =_R. This golden figure is just a projection, but his gaze is so sharp that he can see through my heavenly Tao palace. What should I do? Su Fang was shocked, as if he had been drenched in ice water. He knew that he had gotten himself into big trouble. He was so focused on absorbing the divine power that he forgot Luo's warning. Luo, who was in the blood jade deep in his body, did not dare to warn him. With the golden figure's strength, he would definitely discover Luo's existence. A majestic voice came from the golden light. Lower realm cultivator, what kind of divine technique are you cultivating? You can cultivate the wheel of heavenly Tao. Su Fang felt his scalp go numb. After trembling for a while, Su Fang braced himself and replied, "In the ancient immortal demon battlefield, disciple unintentionally obtained an incomplete cultivation method. After fumbling around and cultivating, disciple has made some small progress, but I don't know what Wheel of Heaven Tao it is. I also didn't expect that this incomplete cultivation method would be a divine cultivation method. An incomplete technique obtained from the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons in the outside world?" A snort came from the golden light. Su Fang knew that this explanation could not fool him. He was ready to welcome the golden figure's fury of thunder. Who knew that the golden figure would say calmly, "Don't worry about anything. You were able to obtain such a technique and cultivate the wheel of destiny. That is your opportunity. Furthermore, although divine techniques are rare and precious in the outside world, they are worthless in my eyes. Naturally, I will not rob you of your opportunity. You are not asking any more?" Su Fang was surprised. Not only did he not feel relaxed, but he became even more vigilant. To be able to cultivate the heavenly Tao palace, what kind of divine technique was the 9 Yang 9 transformations? Even in the myriad worlds, it was definitely a top-notch cultivation method. Yet this golden shadow spoke of it so casually. Obviously, it had other intentions. Cultivator from the lower world, you've already been baptized by the heavenly Tao. Next, Open up your primordial spirit and accept the heavenly Tao's conferment to become the child of destiny. A golden mark shot out from the golden shadow and headed straight for Su Fang's glabella. This golden mark actually contained the aura of destiny. Buzz, the Tao scriptures of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique automatically flashed from deep inside the divine aperture, forming a sturdy defense around the divine aperture. The aura of destiny in the golden imprint caused the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to react. Clearly, there was a power that could threaten Su Fang's destiny. The golden mark seed crashed into the divine aperture's defense and was bounced back by the Tianji life shrinking art. The golden phantom was surprised, and then he shouted coldly, "You dare to defy the heavenly Tao and resist the heavenly Tao's conferment? Open your divine aperture and accept the edict seed." At this time, how could Su Fang not understand? The so-called heavenly Tao's conferment was just using the name of the heavenly Tao to plant a sealing seed in the depths of one's primordial spirit. From then on, one would obediently be controlled. Moreover, the edict seed mentioned by the golden phantom made the heavenly secret life shrinking technique automatically sense the threat of destiny. Clearly, it was not an ordinary sealing seed. Once it was planted in one's primordial spirit, even the heavenly secret life shrinking technique would not be able to remove it. It was not that the heavenly secret life shrinking technique was not powerful enough, but that Su Fang's current cultivation realm was far from enough. At this time, Su Fang finally understood that the so-called child of destiny was just a method used by a powerful force in the myriad of worlds to control the heavenly fate Haotsong sect. Even if this golden phantom, formed by the projection of a god's will, did not discover Su Fang's heavenly Tao palace, he would not be able to escape the fate of being planted with the sealing seed. Su Fang naturally did not refuse any benefits that came his way. It was impossible for him to become a slave under someone else's control. Even if he was as insignificant as an ant in front of the golden shadow, he would still fight to the death. Su Fang respectfully said, "This disciple is foolish and has committed a great crime. Because of this, the Heaven's Mandate Bright Azure sect has revoked my Tao child position. Thus, I am not qualified to become the child of Heaven's Mandate. Please choose someone else. This disciple will take his leave." The Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect doesn't have the final say on whether or not you have the qualifications to become the child of destiny, and it's not up to you to decide whether or not to accept the Heavenly Fate bestowal. Accept the edict seed. If you resist again, I will directly kill you. The golden shadow finally revealed its ferocious fangs and threatened Su Fang in a threatening tone. Disciple has no fate to enjoy the imperial edict. I will take my leave now. Su Fang activated the power of the world of yin and yang and flew toward the door. This space was a world created by a god from the myriad of worlds. The abhijna and aura of a large world could not be used. Su Fang could only use the power of the 9 suns and the power of the world of yin and yang. At this time, Su Fang no longer had any scruples. Facing a god, even if he had to expose all his strength and pay any price, he would still make a final gamble. In the current situation, he could only leave this place first and then escape the Heaven's Mandate Bright Azure sect. Although the hope was slim, if he did not fight for it, there would not even be a glimmer of hope. Insignificant ant, you dare to defy the will of the heavenly Tao. The golden shadow sneered disdainfully. A golden light shot out from it and turned into a 100-meter-long handprint. It instantly arrived above Su Fang's head. An incomparably shocking shackle of divine power enveloped Su Fang, making it difficult for him to move. Under the divine power of a god, Su Fang felt so insignificant. "Break for me!" Su Fang roared furiously. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, golden lightning flashed out from his body, and his body emitted a wave of popping sounds. His muscles and bones started to grow madly, and he swiftly transformed into an over 100 m tall giant, that emanated a shocking aura of divinity that shattered the shackles in the surroundings. Clang! His arms shook, and two huge golden palms shot out from between his palms, colliding with the golden handprint. The golden handprint was shattered, and Su Fong, who was in the state of giant diamond body, was also sent flying. He spat out blood from his mouth, and his body rapidly shrank. He withdrew from a state of giant diamond body, and his aura suddenly became weak. The strength of a god was so terrifying. Just a projection of his will and a handprint casually struck out could suppress a celestial venerable expert from a large world. Su Fong took advantage of the impact and was only 100 meters away from the door leading to the outside void. However, it was 10,000 times more difficult to walk this distance than it was to climb the Heaven's Mandate platform. Not only have you cultivated a supreme God-level technique and formed your own world, but you have also mastered such a powerful divine ability. It's a pity that such a supreme divine ability can't be used much in your hands. Why don't you become my slave and give me your techniques and divine abilities? I can make you my representative in the lower world and grant you supreme power in the lower world. The golden shadow laughed complacently and released a supreme divine aura that shackled Su Fong. You're just a projection of your will. You want to suppress me, Su Fong? I won't let you do as you wish. Su Fong's deep eyes flashed with determination. He released the divine aura of the world of Yin and Yang. Together with the ethereal primordial realm's divine ability, he radiated the power and precepts of the heavenly Tao Palace from his body. Boom! Boom! After a series of collisions, the world formed by Su Fong shattered. The heavenly Tao Palace was shaken, and the Xianguang of the world tree dimmed a little. The terrifying divine aura that shackled him was also shattered layer by layer. Su Fong borrowed the force of the explosion to fly dozens of meters away. He was now only a few dozen meters away from the door that led to the outside world. A lowly ant from the lower world cultivated a supreme God-class energy art. I can't believe you've become so extraordinary. Since you don't want to be my slave, then I'll just suppress you and soul-search you. Everything you have will be mine. My luck this time is pretty good. I thought it would be a difficult task, but I didn't expect to reap such an unexpected reward. Not bad at all. The golden shadow laughed viciously and pointed at Su Fong. Boom, boom, boom. The mountains, rivers, forests, palaces, and pavilions in the world all shattered and turned into nothingness. They converged into a shocking aura that crushed down on Su Fong. Such a terrifying divine aura gathered the power of the entire world. High-level Tao realm experts like Tao Master Han, Su, and Tao Master Divine Cauldron could barely withstand this attack. It was completely beyond Su Fong's ability to withstand. Even a shimming lightning scroll would be useless. I can't even shake the will projection of God. I'm about to be suppressed by him. Su Fong's gigantified Vajrabody and world divine aura could be easily suppressed. The only thing that could threaten the golden shadow was the lightning of destiny. Su Fong gritted his teeth and was about to use the heavenly workings life shrinking art to summon the lightning of destiny. He would rather sacrifice his lifespan than surrender. Suddenly, Law's voice rang out from deep within his body. Once you use the heavenly workings life shrinking art to its limit, you'll lose all ability to fight. Even if you escape this space, you won't be able to escape the heavenly mandate Bright Heaven sect. Leave it to me. Law, why did you speak? Wouldn't it be bad if he finds out? Besides, you're trapped in the blood jade. How are you going to help me? If you're suppressed, where am I going to stay? At this time, what's there to worry about? I've fused 2 pieces of broken blood jade, and my primordial spirit has also fused into one. I've broken free of the seal on my body. Although I can't get out of the cage, I can use your body to exert a part of my power. Law's words shocked Su Fong. Law, after your primordial spirit has fused, you can use my body to exert a part of your power? I can only use it for a short period of less than 10 breaths of time. Furthermore, I can only use it once. Otherwise, a mere will projection dares to be so arrogant. If my physical body was present, I would be able to easily crush it with a single finger. In Law's tone, there was a supreme, domineering, and arrogant air that looked down on the world. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1572. Another change occurred. The fifth evil sun rose into the sky. The exchange between Su Fong and Law happened in the blink of an eye. The attack of the golden shadow rolled towards Su Fong with a terrifying divine power that seemed to sweep the world. Boom! Su Fong could sense a mysterious yet shocking life force bursting out from the crimson jade in his body and colliding with the cage. The life force penetrated the seals of the blood jade and seeped outside, merging with Su Fong's flesh, meridians, and bones. Su Fong sensed that his body was burning in an instant. An incomparably majestic power, after brewing, burst out in an instant, rushing through his body like a flood. Kill. A kind of boiling blood gave Su Fong the illusion that he could destroy the world with a single punch. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power released by the golden figure's condensed world was shattered layer by layer under the impact of Su Fong's punch. In the end, it collapsed with a loud bang. Meanwhile, Su Fong's body shot out like lightning, pouncing towards the golden figure. A cultivator from a great world can display such astonishing power, even more powerful than an ordinary high-level Tao realm cultivator. What kind of forbidden technique is this? No, this is not his strength, but an incomparably powerful primordial spirit hidden in his body, completely activating the potential of his perfect physical body. Only an expert from the myriad worlds can have such a powerful primordial spirit, and at the same time, he's also an incomparably powerful cultivator of the physical body. The golden figure's eye power saw the abnormality in Su Fong's body and was shocked. He had no choice but to take this seriously and fight against Su Fong. I can't believe that there is such a terrifying energy hidden in my perfect physical body. I can't use it, but Law can use it to its fullest potential. Law is sealed in the blood jade, and only a part of his primordial spirit is left, but he can unleash such power on my physical body. When his physical body and primordial spirit are intact, how powerful is he? Su Fong felt like a bystander at this moment, while Law's divine might penetrated the shackles of the blood jade's formation seal and controlled his physical body, unleashing a shocking power that set off a storm in Su Fong's heart. Boom, boom, boom. Under Su Fong's forceful suppression, the golden shadow quickly dimmed. Moreover, the power of the void world projected onto the large world through the supreme divine ability was completely depleted. Everywhere was collapsing. The golden figure shouted coldly, "Stop! Who are you? What's your purpose of hiding in this person's body? Do you know that I'm the messenger of Heaven Divine Path? Do you know what will happen if you resist Divine Path?" Law's cold voice came out from Su Fong's body. "What the hell is Heaven Divine Path? How dare you call yourself Heaven Sealing, pretending to be the heavenly path and deceiving people in the outside world? No matter what your background is, you dare to suppress my friends? All of you must die. When I recover and return to the divine world, I'll directly destroy Heaven Divine Path. You don't even know about Heaven Divine Path? It seems that you've been wandering in the outside world for too long and don't know about the changes in the divine world. There are countless forces in the divine world, and Heaven Divine Path is one of the top forces, controlling more than a dozen divine worlds. How can you contend with it? No matter who you are, you dare to destroy Heaven Divine Path's great plan. So Heaven Divine Path will never let you go. Even if you're in the outside world, they will kill you. If my guess is correct, after the great upheaval, the restrictions from the divine world to the outside world have become stronger. If gods want to descend, they will have to pay a price 10 times more than before. At most, they can only rely on the Heavenswell platform to descend to the outside world. You still dare to talk big and come to the outside world to kill me? Scram back to the divine world. Boom! The golden phantom was bombarded by Su Fong's fist and immediately shattered, turning into rays of golden light. Law could no longer bear the shackles of the blood jade and could no longer seep out his divine aura. Huff! Su Fong breathed a long sigh of relief. as if he had just walked on the edge of death. At this time, Law shouted, "Leave quickly. That heaven divine path powerhouse just now may descend again at any time." Again, Su Fang's back exuded a chill. The golden phantom just now had forced him to use all his strength. If it wasn't for Law, the result would be incomparably miserable. If there was another divine aura projection, how could Su Fang have the capital to resist? Leave here first, then quickly escape from heavens while Hao Tsang's sect. Su Fang didn't dare to stay in the slightest and hurriedly flew toward the door to the outside world. Just one more step, and he would be able to step out of the door. Suddenly, the origin sacred mirror in the heaven and earth Tao palace suddenly surged like water waves, and a scorching aura appeared. Then, the dragon bird suddenly let out a cry that was full of excitement and a little bit of fear. What's going on? Su Fang's heart trembled, and an ominous premonition that had appeared before surged from the bottom of his heart equals in _R. At this moment, boom, in the void world behind, after a flash of golden light, it condensed into a figure. Compared to the previous golden phantom, it was much more realistic, and its appearance was very clear. This was a middle-aged man with a square face, with supreme majesty and momentum, eyebrows like swords, and deep eyes. "You think you can escape from my palm after killing one of my divine aura clones?" The middle-aged man said majestically and struck out a Dharma seal. In an instant, Su Fang felt as if the whole world had frozen, and he couldn't move at all. His vital qi, dantian, and even the heaven and earth Tao palace were all unable to operate under the astonishing shackles. "Puny ant, how dare you defy the heavens? Not only will I search your soul, but I will also obtain your supreme cultivation techniques and divine abilities. I will also not let go of the primordial spirit residing in your body." The middle-aged man took a step forward and instantly traversed through the void, arriving in front of Su Fang. Heaven's secret life, shrinking technique, fate's creation, control heaven's secret. If I want to live, heaven cannot take it away. Fate's creation, control heaven's secret. If heaven punishes me, I will defy the heavens. Fate's creation, control heaven's secret. If the earth buries me, I will break the earth. Su Fang pushed the divine power of the heaven and earth Tao palace and nine yang vital qi to the extreme, finally loosening the shackles around him. Then, he put his palms together and used his primordial spirit to chant the Tao runes from the heaven's secret life shrinking technique. "I like to see ants struggling before death." The middle-aged man revealed a disdainful expression, like a cat teasing a mouse. Su Fang stared at the middle-aged man, and lightning flashed in his deep eyes. "Ant, let's see what other divine abilities you have. What kind of lightning technique is this?" At first, the middle-aged man still had a mocking expression, but in the next moment, the divine light in his eyes changed and was filled with shock and horror. Lightning of fate. The soundless lightning of fate rumbled, and a terrifying divine power that could destroy everything related to fate enveloped the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's consciousness shadow, formed by the golden light, shattered layer by layer. Just as the shadow was about to collapse, a golden light bloomed from the void and hit the shadow. Another lifelike middle-aged deity was formed. Boom, boom. The power of the lightning of fate continued to explode. However, this man was indeed from the myriad worlds. Streaks of golden light, formed by his consciousness, continuously surged out from the world and merged with the consciousness shadow, forming a new consciousness shadow. After more than 10 breaths, the divine power of the lightning of fate was finally exhausted, and there was nothing left. Even the thunder of destiny is unable to completely kill him. The deities of the myriad worlds are actually so powerful. Su Fang's heart sank to the bottom of the abyss. This time, after activating the lightning of fate to the extreme, Su Fang's hair turned snow white, and his skin was full of wrinkles. He looked like an old man in his 60s. After paying such a heavy price, he still could not completely kill the middle-aged man's consciousness shadow. The difference between an immortal and a deity from the myriad worlds was like the difference between a mortal and an immortal. They could only look up to the immortals and could not compete with them. Little ant, you actually lost nearly half of my primordial spirit's power. Not only will I strip your memories, but I will also let the heavenly mandate how Tsang Sek seal your primordial spirit and torture it for eternity. The middle-aged man roared furiously. His anger could burn the heavens, and he no longer had the lofty and domineering demeanor of before. The lightning of fate had still caused him serious injuries. It was like a giant being bitten by an ant, and it was not an ordinary injury. One could imagine how angry he was. The middle-aged man raised his palm, which was burning with golden light, and pressed it directly towards Su Fang's head. Suddenly, the middle-aged man seemed to have sensed something, and his palm stopped abruptly. He looked up at the sky, and his eyes shone with golden light. However, this void world was created by the myriad world's supreme divine ability and was formed by projecting it onto the heavenly mandate platform. There was nothing in the sky, and nothing could be seen. Su Fang, whose life was hanging by a thread, had unexpectedly escaped the calamity. However, he was not happy at all. Instead, his heart suddenly sank. The dragon chi in his body became restless and surged out of his body uncontrollably. Blood-red light shot out of his eyes, which were filled with madness and violence. The dragon bird in the heaven and earth Dao palace became restless again. Su Fang could even clearly sense its excitement and fear. It's changing again. Heaven and earth is changing again. Su Fang hurriedly urged his primordial spirit to suppress the restless consciousness. However, his heart was still cold. The next moment, an aura surged out from the door behind him with the force of a mountain flood. It instantly filled the entire void world, causing it to shatter layer by layer. Suddenly, the bright divine light of the sun burst out from Su Fang's body, followed by the dragon bird's cry that reverberated throughout the world. At this moment, in the secret space of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, where the heavenly mandate platform was located, the incomparably powerful enchantment was also shattering layer by layer, quickly revealing the outside world. It was as if a large evil hand had torn a large hole in the enchantment. In the sky, around the divine sun, there was another evil sun formed by dark red blood. A total of 5 evil suns surrounded the divine sun. The dark red light descended between heaven and earth, and an evil aura filled the great world. No, not only the great world, from the small world to the great world, and even the myriad worlds, every corner was enveloped by the evil aura. The 5th evil sun rose into the sky. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1573. Catastrophe, explosion, and other change occurred in heaven and earth. The 5th evil sun rose into the sky. Affected by the power of the evil sun, the entire macro world was in great turmoil. The space where Su Fang was also greatly impacted. Under the impact of the evil sun, the space shattered layer by layer and was about to collapse. The heaven and earth have changed. It will no longer be so easy to use supreme divine ability to project your will into the macro world in the future. Seal Heaven Divine Path will lose control of the macro world. This time, I have also lost nearly half of my primordial spirit power. Fortunately, I have obtained a supreme technique and divine ability that can cultivate the wheel of heaven and earth. It can be considered as making up for it. The middle-aged god looked at Su Fang again and revealed a sinister smile. It was as if he was looking at a weak chicken waiting to be slaughtered. My name is Mizar Divine Sovereign. You and the primordial spirit in your body should be honored to die in my hands. After laughing complacently, the middle-aged god's right palm burned with golden flames again and slapped down on Su Fang's head. You are Mizar Divine Sovereign? This time, I will kill your will projection first. One day I, Su Fang, will go to the myriad worlds and kill your true body and seal Heaven Divine Path. Su Fang suddenly smiled coldly. Due to using the thunder of destiny, Su Fang's hair was snow white and his appearance was old. His aura was extremely weak, and he was on the verge of death. However, he looked at Mizar Divine Sovereign as if he was looking at a dead man. His voice was filled with supreme dominance and fierce killing intent. The next moment, an incomparably majestic power exploded from Su Fang's body. A blood-red light flickered on his fist like a burning blood flame. Boom! The punch blasted out, and it was as if it was crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. First, it was the Mizar Divine Lord's palm, and then his body. They were shattered into pieces, turning into golden light that dissipated. Ant, I will remember you. You dared to destroy my will projection and injure my primordial spirit. No matter how big the three worlds are, there will be no place for you to hide. Mizar Divine Sovereign's voice came intermittently from the collapsing void. Su Fang looked at his fist in disbelief. Just now, he had actually killed the consciousness of a deity with a single punch. Of course, that unstoppable punch just now was not a strength that Su Fang could possess. Law, how did you suddenly burst out 10 times more powerful than before? At the critical moment, Su Fang suddenly had such a strong power, which came from Law. When the evil sun rose into the sky, the power of the world's change caused the seal of the bloody cage to shatter quite a bit. That's why I was able to use your physical body to display my supreme divine might. Luo Mingxian's voice, which had become extremely weak, rang out. Luo, what's wrong? Su Fang quickly peeled off a young immortal and entered the blood jade. In the bloody cage, Law's aura was weak, and the bloody light on his bloody clothes was dim, and he looked like he had suffered heavy losses. Don't worry about it. After continuously using my race's supreme ability, I've overdrawn myself. I'll probably have to sleep for a while. The space here is about to collapse. Leave. Due to the influence of the world's change, in a short period of time, it will be difficult for the heaven-sealing divine path to cross the shackles between the worlds and the great worlds to contact the Tianming Haotsong sect. They will not be able to send down their divine might, so you don't have to worry about their pursuit. The world has changed, and the calamity has intensified. The Tianming Haotsong sect will not be spared. You have to be careful and grow up as soon as possible. As he spoke, Law closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Law, thank you. Su Fang cupped his fists at Law, feeling very touched. At the same time, he was also worried. Law had just fused with his primordial spirit, and he had continuously used his ability to fall into a deep sleep. He did not know how long it would take for him to wake up. Buzz, a movement came from the Tao Palace of heaven and earth in the depths of his body. It turned out that the movement came from the Origin, Sacred Mirror, and Dragonbird. Under the impact of the evil Yang power, just now, both the Origin, Sacred Mirror, and Dragonbird had absorbed a large amount of the power of the sun. A surge of 9 Yang energy surged out from the Origin, Sacred Mirror and entered the Yang Meridian. At the same time, Dragonbird also spat out the power of the sun, causing the almost dried-up Yang Meridian to surge with majestic Yang energy. It shook the meridian where the 45th Yang Meridian was located as if it was about to be born. Let's leave here first. Su Fang withdrew his Yang Immortal and went through the portal to the sky above the Destiny stage. Although he had consumed more than half of his life force in Yang energy, he did not lose any of his true Qi. Now, he had replenished a large amount of Yang energy, otherwise, it would be difficult for him to even fly. With a sweep of the Great Perfection ability, Su Fang's heart fell into an ice cave. The boundary of the dojo where the Destiny stage was located was completely shattered, and the entire star was exposed to the natural world outside the dojo. 6 divine suns hung high in the sky. This star of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect had been moved here from the myriad worlds with a supreme combat art. It contained the aura of the god realm, but now it was suppressed by the dense qi of death and evil, thinning by more than 30%. The natural qi of heaven and earth in the great world was also severely suppressed. Under the influence of the evil Yang power, countless big goblin in the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect's dojos in Haotsong City fell into a frenzy. Most of these big goblin had been suppressed or reared by cultivators, and now they attacked cultivators without regard for their targets, causing chaos everywhere. In the various dojos, chi of death, and even demonic chi rose from the depths of the earth. Under the influence of the evil yang power, the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect seniors who had died tens of thousands of years ago were resurrected. There were also demonic chi cultivators who had been sealed and suppressed, and they were constantly attacking the seal. The 81 dojos of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect, which meant 80 stars and the heavenly mandate celestial land, had always been enveloped by a supreme fortune, but now it was also suppressed. The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was the greatest faction in the great world and located in the central immortal domain. The natural chi of heaven and earth was incomparably abundant, and it hadn't been greatly affected by the previous 4 upheavals. Moreover, it was protected by the fortune of the heavenly Tao. But now, it felt as if the heavenly Tao's divine might have been blinded, and it would no longer be protected by the heavenly Tao. If the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was like this, how would the other factions and the other immortal domains of the great world fare? This was only the beginning. The true calamity had yet to descend. The evil yang power could suppress nature, and it was no different from a disaster for cultivators. It could cause monsters to lose control of their consciousness and become violent and savage. It was even more fatal to monsters. But the demonic chi cultivators and resurrected demonic chi cultivators could use the evil yang power to become even stronger. It wasn't hard to imagine that the demonic chi cultivators and resurrected demonic chi cultivators would soon flood into the immortal Tao world. With the rise of the 5th evil yang, the calamity that would destroy the great world intensified once again. It would surely engulf every corner of the great world, and even the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect wouldn't be spared. The immortal Tao cultivators and peerless geniuses around the heavenly mandate platform were all focused on the evil yang in the sky. Their eyes were filled with despair, as if doomsday had arrived. No one even noticed the appearance of Su Fong and the disappearance of the portal in the sky. I said that the heavens will die, and the heavenly Tao will no longer protect the immortal Tao. Not only the great world, but the entire 3 realms will be ruled by the demonic chi. The demonic chi saint, Ming Yin, laughed without restraint. His laughter was incomparably arrogant, but not a single immortal Tao cultivator rebuked him. You'd better submit to the demonic chi as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the demonic chi army arrives, the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect will also be turned into a wasteland. After another round of complacent laughter, Ming Yin left in embarrassment. No one came forward to stop him. Looks like the King of Death was right. The heavens will die, and the 3 realms will be destroyed. Su Fong thought of the small world that would be destroyed because of the calamity. The great world would face the same fate. He felt as if a mountain was pressing down on his heart. With the calamity coming, the great world survival of the fittest will become even more cruel. I'm still not strong enough. Su Fong felt a strong sense of urgency. Whoosh, a figure appeared at the top of the heavenly mandate platform. It was the Jihong Immortal Venerable, who had been paying attention to Su Fong. He immediately rushed over when he saw Su Fong appear. Su Fong, are you all right? Didn't you receive the heavenly Tao's baptism and conferment? Why are you in such a sorry state? You actually used your life force as the price to cast a forbidden spell. The Jihong Immortal Venerable was shocked to see Su Fong's white hair and old face. Su Fong cupped his fists and said, "Master, I'm fine. When I was receiving the heavenly Tao's baptism just now," just as he was explaining, suddenly Su Fong felt a strange movement inside his body explode. Su Fong was stunned. He peeled off a Yang Immortal and entered the Tao Palace. The movement came from the Yang Meridian deep in his body. The meridian where the 45th Yang Meridian was located was being attacked. Majestic Yang Qi was exploding, and a shocking force was stirring. The 45th Yang Meridian is actually being born now. Su Fong was shocked and stunned. It turned out that the 45th yang meridian that was being attacked was about to be successfully formed. The nine suns, nine transformations was about to enter the fifth transformation from the fourth transformation. Every transformation of a nine suns, nine transformations required a huge, fortuitous encounter. From the fourth transformation to the fifth transformation, Su Fong had been accumulating for many years. He had swallowed countless pills and fire elemental spiritual items. Even the dragon bird had continuously poured the power of the sun into his yang meridian to help Su Fong cultivate. The only thing he lacked was a fortuitous encounter. He didn't expect that the fortuitous encounter and opportunity to enter the fifth transformation would be the power of the heaven and earth transformation brought about by the ascension of the fifth evil sun. Once the 45th yang meridian was formed, Su Fong would be able to enter the fifth transformation of the nine suns, nine transformations. This would bring him unexpected and shocking changes. However, Su Fong couldn't be happy no matter what. The Jihong Immortal Exalt was shocked and stunned. What kind of cultivation technique is he cultivating? He actually uses such shocking yang qi. He raised his head to look at the sky above the destiny stage. The Jihong Immortal Exalt couldn't sense the space that was connected to the myriad worlds. His heart was instantly in turmoil. It seemed that Su Fong didn't just receive the heavenly Tao's baptism and confirm it in the space. He must have done something big that could shake the destiny, Hao Tsang sect. However, there was clearly a divine aura on his body after being baptized by divine power. Moreover, his cultivation had advanced to the ninth saint immortal realm. What exactly happened? The Jihong Immortal Exalt was puzzled and extremely shocked. He waved his hand and said, "With such a huge change, the sect will definitely come out to investigate. Quickly leave this place." Whoosh, the Jihong Immortal Exalt waved his hand and released a divine aura that enveloped Su Fong. Then, he quickly left the destiny stage. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1574. Fifth transformation after Jihong Immortal Venerable brought Su Fong out of the Heaven's Fate platform. He rushed back to the main peak of Jihong Star and immediately activated the barrier to cover the main peak. "Master, I will take my leave first." Su Fong felt the movement in his body getting bigger and bigger, so he hurriedly said to Jihong Immortal Venerable. Jihong Immortal Venerable said, "Go, don't worry about other things. I will block everything outside for you." "Thank you, Master." Su Fong's heart was moved. He went to a remote place behind the main peak. "I will focus on attacking this yang meridian first. I will not think about other things for now." Su Fong sat down cross-legged and forgot about the changes in the world and the calamity. He put all his attention on the 45th yang meridian. He swallowed a large amount of vast yang pills, other elixirs, and spiritual items to activate the nine yang, nine transformations, turning them into yang qi and entering the yin-yang Dao wheel. At the same time, he gathered all the energy in his body and absorbed the nine yin cold qi from the origin sacred realm. Through a major circulation, he started to attack the 45th yang meridian. Sizzle. Under the repeated attacks, this meridian kept trembling and burning with shocking yang qi flames. It was almost turning into a jade state, but there was still a little bit left. After countless attacks, the heaven and earth Dao palace formed by the 44 yang meridians and the world tree suddenly went silent for a moment. It was as if all the aura in the heaven and earth Dao palace had been absorbed by the 45th meridian, and it was brewing a shocking aura that would shake the heaven and earth Dao palace. Qi. A dazzling Xian Guang of yang qi flowed from one end of the meridian to the other. Boom, boom, boom. The Xian Guang of yang qi swept through the entire heaven and earth Dao palace. When it finally returned to this meridian, it exploded with shocking yang qi flames. After a series of intense tremors, the 45th meridian quieted down and turned into a jade yang meridian. The 45th yang meridian was successfully born. Su Fong continued to pay attention to the heaven and earth Dao palace. There would definitely be a big change in the fifth transformation. As expected, after a moment of silence, the 45 yang meridians that were born from the 37th to the 45th meridian burned with yang qi flames. Then, they moved and formed in a regular circle. All 45 yang meridians formed a yang meridian spiral, forming a total of 5 yang meridian vortexes. The change wasn't over yet. When the true qi and energy in his body merged with the yang qi in the new yin-yang Tao wheel, the yang meridian was like a surging river, crazily rushing and circulating. It was vast and turbulent, and its speed and momentum were more than 10 times greater than before. The roots of the world tree, floating in the middle of the heaven and earth Tao palace, were connected to the first yang meridian. It crazily absorbed the yang energy released by the yang meridian and quickly turned it into the power of the yin-yang world. It was released and returned to the 45 yang meridians. The entire heaven and earth Tao palace was like a galaxy, shining with a bright and mysterious light, a divine light that only gods had covered the heaven and earth Tao palace. His entire body's power came from the 45 yang meridians. In the end, it poured into the world tree. After cultivating through the world tree, the power of the yin-yang world surged out. This method of operation was like the operation of the supreme heavenly Tao. After activating the 9 yang, 9 transformations, the yin-yang Tao will instantly begin to explode with earth-shattering movements. Asterisk boom. Asterisk the pure yang energy and the power of the yin-yang world filled every corner of Su Fang's body. It made him feel as if he was a world that was independent of the heaven and earth. It operated on its own and evolved according to the operation of the heavenly Tao. Jihong, Immortal Venerable, had been paying attention to Su Fang. When he sensed Su Fang's qi, an incomparably terrifying light flashed in his deep eyes. He has actually reached such a high level in the world Tao. He has turned himself into a world. The divine might of the world Tao is more than 10 times stronger than when he fought against Ming Yen. Not even the peak immortal venerable experts of the great world can cultivate the world Tao to such a high level. This disciple of mine is simply a heaven-defying monster. His future achievement won't be the peak of the Tao realm. He will surpass the peak of the great world and reach the level of a god. Moreover, he won't be an ordinary god. Originally, I wanted him to cultivate my time Tao so that he could enter the Tao as soon as possible. Then, I will help him break through the peak of the Tao realm within 10 million years. After that, he will go to the end of the great world. I didn't expect that he would be able to reach such a high level without my help and without 10 million years. At most, he would only need 1 million years. No, he might even need a few 100,000 years. Qinxue, you should wait there for a few more days. Jihong, Immortal Venerable's heart was in turmoil. He couldn't calm down for a moment. At this moment, a voice with supreme majesty suddenly resounded in the sky above the main peak of Jihong Star. Jihong, bring Su Fang to the meeting hall. Su Fang wasn't unfamiliar with this voice. It was the leader of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Sect Master, when Su Fang was receiving the baptism of the Heavenly Tao, he encountered a change in the heaven and earth. Now, his life is in danger, and he needs to go into seclusion to cultivate. Jihong, Immortal Venerable, cupped his fists towards the void where the voice came from and said respectfully. Su Fang sensed that there was a sensing force that stopped on his body and carefully sensed him. Although Su Fang had successfully developed a yang meridian, entered the 5th transformation of the 9 yang 9 transformations, and swallowed a large number of medicinal pills and spiritual items, his life force had yet to fully recover. His hair was gray, and his appearance was still that of a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s. He indeed looked like he was seriously injured. The sect master's majestic voice resounded again. The Heaven's Mandate platform has lost its connection with the myriad worlds. The spatial world created by the upper realms experts with supreme divine abilities has collapsed. Su Fang was inside at that time. This matter is related to the rise and fall of the sect. How can there be any delay? Come here and accept the sect's inquiry. It won't be too late for you to recover after that. Sect Master, don't go too far. Jihong, immortal venerable, shouted coldly. The Sect Master said indifferently, What? Jihong, you even dare to go against my decree? Jihong, immortal venerable, said loudly, My disciple Su Fong won first place in the Tao disciple competition. He was originally the best candidate to become a Tao disciple, but you let him climb to the top of the Heaven's Mandate platform and become the child of destiny. Only then can he become a Tao disciple. The world has changed and lost its connection with the upper realm. What does this have to do with my disciple? You didn't care about his life and death, and summoned him to inquire. How can I accept that the sect master treats my disciple like this? I definitely won't obey the sect master's decree. The sect master's soul shadow appeared above the main peak, and a supreme divine might enveloped the main peak. Jihong, could it be that you want to betray the sect? Jihong, immortal venerable, didn't back down, and his tone was aggressive. Betray? Sect Master, don't forget that I joined the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect because of the Grand Supreme Elder's invitation. Only then did I become the Sect Master of the Jihong Dojo. Back then, we agreed that I wouldn't be bound by the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's laws and could go and stay as I pleased. Sect Master, could it be that you want to force me to summon the Grand Supreme Elder, who is in seclusion, and have him uphold justice for me? The Sect Master fell silent, and his divine might also dissipated. When Su Fong heard the conversation between the two, he couldn't help but fall into intense shock. He already knew that this cheap master wasn't simple, but he didn't expect him to be this complicated. The Grand Supreme Elder that Jihong, immortal venerable, spoke of was definitely the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's pillar of stability, the terrifying existence that was rumored to have one foot in the true God realm. How could the Jihong, immortal venerable, be an ordinary person since he could converse with such a terrifying existence? Fine, I'll give Su Fong 5 years to recover, and then accept the sect's inquiry. This matter is of great importance, and it must be investigated clearly. This matter isn't negotiable. As soon as the sect master's majestic voice fell, his soul shadow disappeared into nothingness. Su Fong cupped his fists in the direction of the Jihong, immortal venerable. Thank you, Master. The Jihong, immortal venerable, transmitted his soul and said, I won't ask you what happened. Hurry up and recover your life force. At the same time, think of how to explain to the higher-ups of the sect. Don't let them have any suspicions. Su Fong nodded. Understand. Whoosh, a storage ring appeared in front of Su Fong, and then the Jihong, immortal venerable's soul voice sounded again. There are 100 Thunderblood nascent elixirs, and some elixirs that can replenish life force. Come to my cave abode and cultivate in peace to recover. Thank you, Master. Su Fong grabbed the storage ring, and he was very touched. This cheap master was really speechless. After entering the Jihong, immortal venerable's cave abode, Su Fong came to the room where he used to cultivate. He sealed the door and then entered the true Dragon Realm's cultivation field. Whoosh, after forming the seal, his physical body shattered and turned into a surging sea of blood. It crazily devoured elixirs and quickly recovered the life force that was consumed. In the depths of the cave abode, the Jihong, immortal venerable, passed through layers of powerful sealing formations and came to a room. In the room, an old man sat cross-legged in the center. This old man's appearance was exactly the same as the Jihong, immortal venerable, but he looked a bit older. His aura was empty, and he didn't seem to be someone from the great world. Main body. The Jihong, immortal venerable, nodded at the old man. The old man smiled. Clone, this disciple of yours is simply heaven-defying. Apart from those peerless geniuses in the great worlds, it's hard to find anyone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with him. It seems that it won't be long before I return to the great worlds. The Jihong, immortal venerable, shook his head and smiled bitterly. Su Fong's growth speed is too fast, and I'm afraid my recovery speed won't be able to keep up. Fortunately, Su Fong obtained a piece of desolate wood during the Tao disciple competition, and he gave it to me as a gift. With this divine wood, my recovery speed will probably be much faster. Desolate wood. The eyes of the Jihong Immortal Venerable suddenly shot out a wisp of light, and he reached out to grab the desolate wood that the clone took out. That's right, it's the divine wood that was born when the great world was formed. With this piece of desolate wood, I can save at least 100,000 years of time. Su Fong actually has such a filial heart. You didn't waste your efforts on him. A shocking power of time burst out from the palm of the Jihong Immortal Venerable, and he directly absorbed the essence of the power of time contained in the desolate wood into his body. == Our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review.